Well, this is Santa Sam, the king of the Angry Patriots. Are you tired of the political games? Uh-huh. The broken promises? Uh-huh. Are you ready for a beacon of free-thinking light? Well, get ready to unleash your blues. Uh-huh. This is the Why I'm Angry podcast, and it starts now. All right. Thank you, Santa Sam, for getting on there and giving us a good intro. Killing it again with the intro there. The king of the Angry Patriots. Well, tonight is a few nights before Christmas here. We thought we'd get on, give you a Christmas podcast. I've got Honest Abe is in the house here. We're here in the Freestyle Man Cave studio. I've got, make sure that you're getting on and, liking us, sharing us. We've got the, if you put in a 5-star or 1-star rating, we're going to get you into a raffle for a t-shirt. And that's going to go out each month and stuff like that. So we don't care if you just kind of like us. We want you to hate us or love us. Just don't be in between. If you don't give us a 5 or a 1, we're not putting you in the raffle. I don't care if you give us a 4-star. If you're one of those people that don't give us a 5-star, you're not getting a t-shirt. So just there. Other things, get on our website. Check out the news that we're checking out. There's a great interview with Honest Abe on there. And kind of getting to know us all. Some people don't know that Honest Abe has kind of gone through a life-changing, life-altering event through the last 6 months or so, and he's starting to see some of the not normalcy, but the what the normalcy is going to start to look like. He got to do some Christmas shopping this week, pick out a new foot. Things like that. So, yeah. So I've been excited about it, man.
How many of y'all ever get to choose what kind of foot you have?
Right? That's what I was like. Oh man, I'm so deprived. I didn't get to pick one of my feet. I didn't get to just
It's the lucky few. The lucky few
living
choose a few a
the
new foot.
depraved life of not choosing your feet.
Yep. You're stuck
Yeah,
here.
so there's we'll have to do another interview with you to kind of see how you're doing farther on into it, because I know when we did the interview, it was a couple months ago. I know we were getting, you were getting some of the we were kind of pushing towards the mark, but we hadn't hit any of the some of the major marks and stuff like that. So once we hit a few more of the major marks, we'll have to talk and update it, I guess. But yeah, that's something behind the paywall. You can see all of the articles that we're looking at. We're writing some articles. We've got some AI writings that we're just playing around with. And then if you want to follow the podcast with the video or with the podcast itself, and then the articles that we're actually headlines that we're actually looking at, we post that too. That's in our blog. So, and all of that is just a couple bucks a month. And it just basically all of that just goes back to, helping us run this thing. Because even if you get the get on and listen to the commercials and all of that on there, we only get a few pennies per download or per listen on any of those things. So, just get on and support.
Yeah,
Become an angry patriot.
So,
Right.
Trying to keep arms.
These yeah, there's arms and legs, and that becomes real.
Right. It costs us a leg already, so trying to keep these arms. Gotta keep the vision.
That's why we got so many hosts. We just start moving down the line.
We all made our own sacrifices.
Oh man. So we're gonna pretty much run a Christmas headlines deal. You just mentioned Rudy Giuliani. That's kind of an interesting deal. He got kind of a
Yeah,
sad. He may be having a blue Christmas this year.
I think
He
so.
he found out last week that he or the courts came down with a he was guilty of bankruptcy for 146 million. He was guilty of defaming two um poll workers in
Hmm.
Georgia because when he was one of Trump's lawyers, they brought the lawsuit into in of fraud to Georgia, and that's kind of what this whole RICO deal is. Which I don't see Hillary on a RICO charge, or you know Al Gore or Barack Obama, or none of those guys are getting RICO charges when they were upset. And for 4 years there was not my president going around, and everyone's throwing fraud, and there's even a Russian collusion thing going on, and all that stuff. But so yeah, so they got Giuliani. I think this is kind of a long drawn out, gonna gotcha, and they're gonna try to continue to get people. And as they get some of these people leading up to Trump, some of these people are going to be, I mean, $146 million is what the settlement was. 145,969,000 So
Yeah, I think he's just the tip of the iceberg too. Like you said, I
I
think
think
there's more to
he
come,
was the
but
big one that they could get. They could get
right
this
away.
easy enough,
Yeah,
because they could say, "Oh, he defamed these people," because they
yeah,
named them, like they named them individually. So it
right.
was easy for them to get him. They got one of his other lawyers um, to plead guilty to charges. And she pled guilty, and I don't think she's gonna see jail time. But I wouldn't be surprised if she wasn't part of the witnesses against Trump in the next few years, or over the next year. Because I think this plays out more powerfully over the next year, but it doesn't, it really doesn't gain them anything if they push it beyond this year, really. Because after 4 years,
Yeah, they're just
he's
trying to keep him wrapped up in all the
yeah.
litigation and and that sort of thing, court proceedings and so forth. So I thought
Because
just a tidbit to bring it back to Giuliani a little bit. I think I heard that it was, or they released that it was 148 mil,
yeah,
and then the judge cut him a break
right, right.
to
He reduced
146.
it. He later reduced it to 145,969.
Yeah.
I think that 69 on the end is the fact that,
Yeah.
he just, I'm gonna give it up your rear or something.
Yeah, just,
Um,
just an extra little,
right. A
titty
little
twister
oomph
or
on
something
there.
at the end.
That's right. Gave you the happy ending.
Yeah.
Um, because I mean, Giuliani's no spring chicken anymore. I mean, but yeah, so he
Well, he
filed
filed for
chapter.
bankruptcy like the next
Yep.
day. Yeah.
Yeah, today.
Yeah.
Filed chapter 11 this morning.
But
Um,
I was reading that article, and the the amount of money that he owes in back taxes and other stuff, it's like they were saying that he was worth like 1 to 10 mil, but
right.
he owed like, I forget what the total amount was for taxes. It was over 10 mil, I
Yeah,
think it was.
it's his liabilities right now are between 100 and 500 million dollars.
But it's wild to me because the taxes are 2 years old, right? Well, one of them, it's for 2021 and 2022 is what they said. Yeah. And so,
Um, yeah, I haven't gotten to that part of the
no,
article
yeah, it
since
was,
since
I believe
this
it
is
was
a
for,
game time
yeah.
decision. Oh yeah, 2022 and 21. Giuliani owes the IRS about 724,000 in income tax for 22 and 21. And is on the hook for additional 265,000 in income tax in New York, according to legal documents. So about $1 million in
Yeah.
income taxes.
Yeah, it's funny. It's one of those, and I don't really care either way. It is what it is. I don't care whether he's on one side or the other. But it's always interesting to me that like being down in the blue collar middle class segment of the whole thing of the world, I should say. It's interesting to me that like
Right.
we always stress out about owing the government a thousand or 2,000 or whatever the case may be. We
Right.
set up our
Right.
our payments or whatever we got to do to pay it back if we can't pay it right then and there. And then we're like, they're going to garnish our wages and this and that, and it's like, how has this guy gotten away with 2 years owing,
Right.
or a year of
Well,
owing almost a mill? It's like, I mean, I get it. It's a whole different animal when you're talking that amount of money and that different class and everything else. But man, it's kind of puts you back in your seat a little bit, when you're thinking about the
right.
two
Well, yeah, when you
two
look
ends
back
of
and
the
you're like,
spectrum,
"Whoa."
right?
Back in a previous life, I had a guy, or I worked for a guy that somehow owed the federal government, it was like $3 million in back taxes over like a 2 to 5 year span. Like I don't remember, I like, and like he also owed somehow he owed eBay in fees and stuff like that somewhere around 1.5 million.
Jeez.
What was great about it is he files bankruptcy, closes the business down after 5 6 years. We're literally making him $1 million a week. Like I just started doing the math and stuff, and looking over the numbers of like all of the groups that were out and stuff, and doing this and that, and we were making him at least, like, this was like in the beginning we were making him like $1 million a week. So we got up to like multinational corporation, had to be making him, somewhere between 4 to 5 at least a week, and couldn't pay his taxes. Files bankruptcy, opens a business in his wife's name. They find him in Texas, get him all subpoenaed up and everything, take him to jail, take him to court, all this. After all of that, he also had a class action lawsuit on him for some like $20 million for overtime payments that he needed to pay because we were all traveling, 24/7 travelers and stuff like that. We traveled 3 weeks at a time, and he hadn't paid us right for that, and so he owed like somewhere around like 25-30 million dollars to all the debtors and stuff like that. Go to court, and his payment was something like $150 a month was his settlement. Yeah.
You'll see your money never
So
or
so yeah,
someday,
class action
maybe.
lawsuit guys. Like a couple of the people, like I never even filed on the class action lawsuit because I knew I was like never gonna get money from him. Because
Yeah.
like now he's an employee, and they're like, oh, what's he? He's like, oh, I only make like $1,000 a week or something like that.
Yeah.
And so he, yeah, he ran off with the maid, but you know, so
Yeah, it's
I,
interesting to see that stuff. It's
yeah,
like,
it was funny because I had a couple friends that were on the class action lawsuit, and they're like, um, sorry, I had a gnat.
oh, you're good.
They were like, oh, I got a check for $7.35. Like, right, like, I might get
Yeah,
another check some other time. Yeah, after the other 150, 200 people
yeah,
get their payments.
yeah.
Plus the government's going to take
Another
everything.
6 months later, you're gonna get another $7 check or
Right.
whatever. Yeah.
Right. And it
And,
was great.
and it's funny because if you read that article with the Rudy Giuliani stuff, it was like if you looked at it even more, they were talking about all the like lawsuits and stuff that he still had pending over him, and it was like another like 2 to 500 mil or something insane. I could just be making that number up, but I thought it said 2 to 500, but it might be less. But it's still pending lawsuits on him that is still in the millions. You know,
Yeah, I mean basically um yeah, they're saying, I mean, and that also might be why he owed the back taxes too, is because if he's got lawsuits that are on the books for those years, though, and he loses those would actually take his liabilities farther. He wouldn't actually,
right?
it
Oh
would
yeah,
change his income.
right.
Um, but
It's gonna and
and
that Chapter 11 is gonna save him a whole heck of a lot of money when
oh,
it
that's gonna
comes
save him a ton. Yeah, he's gonna
when
be
it
able to
comes
survive, and
down to it. I mean, realistically, he's gonna make out pretty well at the end of
he's
this
gonna
whole
be able
thing.
to retire at least, and not like. I mean, he's got to be late 70s, early 80s, I think, is where he's at.
Right.
So, but yeah,
Well, what are you
Rudy
gonna
Giuliani,
do?
once mayor of New York,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's crazy. Like he came out of mayor of New York and went back into law. Ended up as a lawyer for Donald Trump. Ended up as one of his law advisors. Yeah,
Yeah. It's a
yeah.
strange world we live in.
Put his hand and what's funny to me also is in the Trump world, you put your hand to the plow. You weren't just a name in there. Like
Right.
Giuliani actually was there filing the paperwork, and that's why he's now on the hook for this.
Right.
Like
Right.
he could have just been an advisor and been like, "Yeah, send Bobby Boogaba out there and have him sign it."
Yeah.
And Bobby Boogaba would have been like, 146 million? I got no
Right.
money.
They should have just put the intern's name
What
on the paperwork. Right.
what gets me though is how, like, are they saying that these two people's careers over the next how many ever years was going to come out to 70 some $1 million? I mean, these people were
Yeah.
just,
Defamation of character is what it came down to, and that
yeah,
was
and
what the
that's,
law came to be. Yeah.
but the
Yeah.
the
I don't.
damages the
Yeah.
damages that come out to that though
These
are
were
supposed
election poll
to,
workers. You know, these
yeah,
are
they're poll
election poll
workers. They're
workers that they
making,
called out individually, and that yeah, now they're worth 70+ mil a piece.
right.
You know,
So, like, what are their other jobs? Like these poll workers, I'm like, not that I'm trying to call these guys out, but
but
like,
what
if I
what do
go
you really
back and
do?
I think, huh, how much did I make over the last 10 years?
What's
I
interesting to me is the not to cut you off. What's
No, you're
interesting
right,
to me is it was defamation of character was the whole lawsuit, right?
right,
I couldn't tell you even their first name. You know, it's like,
right.
and I'm sure people that have followed it closer, you know, and this and that, like probably, you know, they're like, oh yeah, did you hear about Bobby? He got wrapped up in this, you know,
Oh
like all
man,
this other stuff. But
we can't hire him.
you know, can't trust this guy, you know. But at the same time, it's like most people are not gonna know who
Right,
or who specifically it was and this and that. So 70 mil later, you know, it's like
right.
okay, but whatever.
And I mean, like, and like you said, like, if they move to another state, if they and I understand, like, they shouldn't have to move to another state or whatever. Nobody's, like you said, nobody's gonna know who they are. They'll get a job, blah blah blah.
Right.
Most likely, if they move, in their state in another year, they'll get a job and whatever, and nobody will know who they are unless they
Yeah.
go out blabbing about who they are, which
Yeah.
seems more likely than not.
Right.
Oh, I'm the guy that took down Rudy Giuliani.
All right.
Badge of honor right here.
He's paying me $1,000 a year. It's like,
Right. On his bankruptcy. He's worth $422 now.
right.
Oh
So what else you
man.
got? You said you got some
So yeah, so I kind of delved into I don't know if that's really a word, but
dove.
whatever. I dove I dove into I delved into the Christmas headlines. Just quick perusing, seeing if there's anything else we really should hit. Um, yeah, scientists discover a new class of drugs effective against antibiotic resistant staph infection, which is actually fairly groundbreaking. Since staph infection has, a lot of the staph infection has become antibiotic uh, resistant. And that's actually one of the more serious killers, yeah, of people in the U.S. Probably, more people die more often from staph infection than they do COVID, since you
Right.
pretty much live all but 0.04% of the time in COVID.
Well,
But
there's a lot of stuff around staph infection that people don't realize. Like anything, there's a lot of malpractice,
right,
related cases. There's a lot of different cases that
that's
you can tie to staph infection and so forth. So
one of my
so
other
having something you can battle that with is pretty important.
yeah. No, well,
Like you
that's why I
said, pretty
said this is
groundbreaking.
probably pretty groundbreaking because yeah, one of my other buddies that I was on the road with, he's an amputee because of staph infection.
Yeah,
He got hit by a vehicle as a construction worker, and just I don't know whether he broke his leg or cut his leg or whatever. Has diabetes and stuff like that, and because of all of that, staph infection took his leg.
yeah.
So,
It's a real big thing on that side of the spectrum.
but so
Well, that's
that's
pretty cool, though.
yeah, that's crazy um, for that. Activision Blizzard is actually their leadership is stepping down. They're going to change as part of the Microsoft acquisition. That was one thing we talked about a little bit last week, is that Microsoft was buying Activision, and they were trying to still litigate. The people of the people were saying,
The
"Oh, it's going to
people.
be a monopoly. We can't, give Microsoft more game power. They've already got the Xbox and all of these other games, and they got Johnny Rocket and all that." So
Yeah.
yeah, which I still,
Welcome to. I want to say like welcome to the entertainment world where eventually things are bought out and it's like Disney that owns ABC, ESPN, et
everything.
cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Lucas Arts,
Discovery.
Star Wars, National
Right,
Geographics.
right. It's
Yeah,
the
no,
entertainment world, right? Whatever you can get, and they end up
yeah, I
soaking it
mean,
up.
they're making hundreds of millions of dollars off of movies, and I know that like they spend quite a bit to get these movies to make $100 million, to get the advertising out and all of that good stuff. But where does that money go? I mean, yes, some of it goes into the next movie, but when you're making 5 movies at once and you spend $100 million, and then your movie grosses $800 million or $600 million, well, you've got enough money. You can go buy Blizzard or Activision. They haven't put
Right,
out anything great lately.
right. It's been
Uh,
a little while since they've put out,
I was
too
gonna say
much.
they took forever to put out, And then you see that there's a new Grand Theft Auto coming out.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if I like 10 years it took them to get a new Grand Theft Auto. It's like
right.
the gaming industry is the only industry where people are still hyped about you, 20 years later, and you haven't put out anything in between there to like keep them like excited, and they're like, "Yeah, this is the greatest." It's like
Yeah,
Diablo came out like 12, 8 or so
right.
years later.
Right.
Like I
I
was
saw something the other day. It was like it must have been a meme or something, but it was like pictures of like the first releases of like PlayStation and or
right,
PlayStation 2 and a few of the other ones and stuff. And I'm like, man, I remember hearing about like those lineups and stuff, and people
right.
lined up like, at the stores, trying to get into one of the Game Stops or whatever the case would be, like trying to trying to get into it. And I'm thinking, man, like probably a lot of people don't do that anymore. Most people are probably
No,
ordering it or this or that. You don't have to line up to get into do the games and stuff because most of it's all like hosted through online or you can download it online or
you download them now.
yeah.
I mean the new PlayStation 5, the one version doesn't even have a DVD player.
No, really.
Yeah,
A world we
the
live
cheap
in where we no
the
longer
cheaper
have
version doesn't
TV
even
or
have a anyway,
a disc
so
player or
it
whatever.
doesn't even have a DVD player on it. Yeah, it doesn't have Blu-ray or anything on it.
But you can no longer put in the old games anymore.
Nope,
Oh man,
nope.
it's
You just
the next step up where everything's obsolete, right? Who keeps
right.
games anymore? It is weird though to think
I
like
mean, I do have a shelf of
how
games
far
still, but
technology has come. I know, but like it's wild to think like how far technology has come with that stuff too. Because you
I
think
all
like DVDs is gone, like VHS is unheard of. DVDs
right.
is gone away pretty much. Like Blu-rays was a blink of an eye. Like it was so short in comparison. They're still
Right,
out there,
like
but
yeah,
how
yeah.
often
I
do
mean,
you
they're
take a Blu-ray and like throw it in?
right.
You're
It's
on some
games
streaming
now.
app
That's
and
Blu-rays are only made for games anymore, really,
right, right,
and Walmart.
right. Yeah. That's it's wild. It's wild. We've gotten away from like the material, like disc or device to throw into our TV for entertainment purposes. Right.
Right,
Everything is
right.
streaming and everything's so
It's all
digitally
online,
transferred. You know.
and 90% of the time we don't even own anything anymore. Like we're
Right.
streaming all these movies. Like I own a subscription to Disney Plus. I don't own
right. Right.
any of those movies. Like I'm like, oh
Right.
yeah, look, I've got access to all the movies.
Yeah.
And you used to like
Like I
collect
am
like
renting
people
access to these movies. Like,
right right right.
I mean,
At
that's what it's
any
come down
moment,
to. Is like,
Disney could go crashing down and you'd have
yeah,
zero
yeah,
entertainment. Like think
yeah.
about that. If we have an attack and the internet goes out, we're going to be Amish.
I'm gonna be bored.
We're
Well,
going to
that's
have way more kids.
yeah. Since we got on the entertainment aspect of things, have you seen the Leave the World Behind yet or whatever on Netflix?
No.
You haven't watched that
We
yet?
I got rid of
Julia
Netflix,
Roberts.
unfortunately.
You don't have Netflix?
I don't have Netflix, no.
Oh my gosh! What are you
We
doing?
we axed Netflix because of the way that Netflix's political
Yeah, that
leanings
and
and
then
all of the stuff
yeah.
that they came out with a couple, year or so ago. We axed it. Plus, they kept raising our rates, and then we actually
Every like 6 months it was like, oh, it's going to be $1 more, and and
we
it still
shared it with
is.
someone else, and we paid for extra screens. Like we weren't just like,
Yeah,
oh, we'll share it with somebody else. We
yeah,
actually were paying the extra, like the $2 or $3 per screen or whatever
yeah,
they had at the
yeah,
time. And then they're like, oh no, you can't pay that anymore, but we're still going to charge you the same.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
We're like,
I think between Haley and I, it's like we probably have just about all of them, but but it's one of
we
those
have,
things. The reason I brought up that movie
yeah,
is they there's a part of the movie. It's towards the end of it, and this girl basically just finds a bunker in a rich house, and she goes down the bunker or whatever, and it's like another, it's a house, like like let's be honest,
right,
it's like another house. It's like somebody's basement that was made into a bunker, and there's a whole wall of DVDs and movies and TV shows and all this. Like I mean, it's just like a
right,
wall from like end to end, like of all
right.
this stuff,
Yeah.
and that's what it made me think of is like what happens, like you said, if everything crashes, the world
If
comes to an
everything
end.
crashes.
the people with DVD players have gold. You know?
DVD players and the
We
record
were ready to
people.
have.
Those people with
Yeah,
records.
yeah.
Um, yeah, no, it was funny because me and Jay Boots were talking. He went through some old stuff and he found the VHS of the Blair Rooster Project.
Oh wow, yeah,
And so yeah, we
that's old
used
there.
to yeah, we used to do some like old YouTube videos before YouTube even started. And we even
Yeah.
laughed. We're like, "Listen, Honest Abe is now Jimmy the Cripple Kid for real." Cuz we did some skits
That's
that
true.
were called
I forgot all
Jimmy the
about that.
Cripple Kid.
I
And
forgot all
Honest
about
Abe would roll around in this wheelchair. We had this like this wheelchair
that.
that's
Oh,
for our church. And
yeah,
at the end of this thing, he gets choke slammed through a table while being Jimmy the Cripple Kid.
yeah,
He gets tackled in the wheelchair. We destroy the wheelchair. He gets out, he walks away with the wheelchair yelling, "You guys are so mean. You even broke my wheelchair." And he rolls the wheelchair down the driveway. And this is a stone driveway, by the way.
yeah.
And the wheelchair rolls and the wheel falls apart in half perfectly, rolling like. And at that point, Honest Abe was not actually crippled.
Yeah, I still
But
had two
now
legs.
Jimmy the Cripple Kid has come full circle.
It's like it was was what do
This
they
is
call that, like
foreshadowing.
yeah, foreshadowing. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it was like, man, and this was back in the early
Oh,
2000s before YouTube really took off.
yeah. Yeah, this is
I mean, we
easily
were recording on digital video cassettes. These like mini
20 plus
videos.
years ago. I mean, yeah, we're talking
Yeah.
20 to
Yeah.
20 to
Almost
25
yeah.
years ago, somewhere in there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Make me feel older, man.
Oh, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, crap, that was
Yeah,
that long.
2001, 2002, so about 21, 22 years ago, right around in
Yeah,
that range.
yeah, yeah.
So, yeah. What's
Wow.
sad is I was already out of high school at that point, so,
Yeah, you still gotta be
you
have
know.
some entertainment in your life, right?
But, yeah, but yeah, so he found that video but what like long story long, um I said, "Jay, we gon' we gotta find a VHS player to, uh to actually even play that on." I said, how we gonna play it? Who's got a VHS anymore?" I was like, "I'm gonna have to go see if my mother-in-law or father-in-law, like, they always have a box of old, like, electronics and stuff like that." I'm like,
Yeah.
"We gotta find that so that we can actually even see what's on it."
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, so yeah, that's, you know, but, we talked about Blizzard and this whole Microsoft deal. The whole antitrust, monopoly things. If you make the best product, your product is better than everybody else's, and it's not your fault that, whatever. So we've already gone over it. I'm not going to beat a dead horse or beat a live horse or beat a horse in general, I guess. But, you know, um, electric scooter company Bird files Chapter 11 bankruptcy and will sell off all of it or most of its assets, some of its assets. Bird was founded in 2017. It went public in 2021. Basically, it went public via a special purpose acquisition merger. I guess if you're into powered wheelchair scooter things, that could be an interesting. I don't know if you own Bird or whatever, a Bird one, but I know my father-in-law just got one from the VA, from Veteran
Yeah.
Services, so that he could, go to the zoo and stuff, and take longer walks around the
Longer
grocery.
distance and stuff. Yeah.
Right, right, and but they laid it all. I mean, that was not. It was good. I mean, like I told. he goes, I just figured maybe they give me a walker, with a chair on a seat on it or something, and I'd be able to like push that around or something. He's like, but they gave me like the whole, like they got him a lift, covers,
The whole shebang.
baskets.
Yeah.
Right, right. They gave him like the smartphone
Good.
holder, and he doesn't even have a smartphone. I'm like, but dude, you were like in, you still got a flip phone. Um, he'll never hear this podcast because he won't know how to get to it. But he's always like, he was like, oh, I just, I was like, man, you earned it. You like fought in Vietnam. You like protected the country. You know, I'm like that. They should roll out the red carpet for you guys. I mean, anyone
Right.
that fights for our country should have anything that they need, or sometimes even the things that they want. And that was like that's where he was at. He was like, I didn't even like think they would really do anything for me, but I just thought, well, I'll ask them, and maybe they'll, and they were like, boom. It came like 3 weeks later, all set up, ready to go for him, and they'll
That's
uh, they'll
nice.
do all the maintenance on it and everything.
Huh.
So
That's
yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah, it's got a little Marine uh sticker on it, and Veterans VA sticker on it to denote that they took care of it, and they're gonna take, and then it's got the call in numbers and stuff for, yeah, they'll send a person out to maintenance it and everything. So, but that was
Nice.
cool. Yeah, that was cool.
Sorry,
So
I'm having technical difficulties at the moment.
and you're all right. I noticed that you're popping in and out, at least video wise. Nobody on the
I'm
podcast will ever notice.
no, I'm having
So
having power issues. I gotta get my phone's about to die. I'm an idiot. Didn't plan ahead, so
that's why we started a little late, is because I had my backup phone. My regular phone normally is my camera on it because it gets the brightness and everything, and can do the green screen. And so then the other phone, yeah, I had to plug it in. My regular phone I can't plug in anymore because it's got a bad jack. So yeah, this is why you need to, make sure you get on and support the podcast. We're running on phones here.
running on
We're
phones, running on
running,
all kinds of stuff.
yeah, we got people, we're bringing in talent from around the country, and we still can't, we can't afford to like keep them up and running, and even charged half the time.
Well,
So,
it,
you know, you know, so
it's
in
poor planning on my part.
no, no, no. This is the sad reality of podcasting on a budget, on a dime, maybe on a
Well, yeah,
penny.
when you're doing it across state lines and everything else, or
Right,
even when you're not at the same place, it's bound to happen from time to time. And
right.
I looked at my battery and I was like, all right, I think I should be okay. And then I've sat here watching it and I'm like, holy crap, it's draining a little faster than I thought I was going to.
Well, and that's
So
yeah. Like I do the same thing when I run some Amazon Flex here and there, and I noticed my phone just like just drains and drains, and so like I've had to get like one of those magnetic chargers and stuff for in the car, so I
yeah,
could pop it on, charge it for, and then I can take it and do the pictures, and because you gotta like push like 1,800 buttons just to drop
right,
off a package,
right,
and because everybody needs a photo of where their package was dropped.
right.
But
I'm trying to get
speaking,
a power block dropped to me right now.
oh, okay, right.
Waiting to see if I can get a
Oh,
message or
he
bring.
sent the message out. Yeah.
I've got a cord out in my truck right now. I could go grab relatively fast, but the power block. All right. I think my delivery's here. Hold on. Give me two.
Oh, there we got deliveries. So while he's grabbing deliveries, I'm gonna go over a couple more of the regular headlines here. Um, They said one of the headlines is Fat Leonard returns, a Malaysian national at the center of one of the largest U.S. Navy corruption scandals in modern history, will return to face sentencing. He's been in Venezuela, and Venezuela now that we've allowed them to sell some oil to us, they're now allowing extradition because normally they're a non-extradition state. Um, but they're happy with us now, so we're gonna get Fat Leonard back. And somewhere he has stolen from the U.S. Navy, or allegedly, because again, we're still supposed to be a country that you're guilty after you're proven it,
You're
but you're
innocent
innocent
proven until proven
until
guilty.
you're proven there.
Yeah, well,
So
I think that's a really great area now because I feel like people look at that and but the headlines and the media and
let's talk about
any
that
of
real quick,
okay, let's go.
because you see what you saw. Did you see what Colorado did this week or over the
Yeah,
last 2 days?
yeah,
So
they're
Colorado,
trying to pull or drop Trump from the ballot. Yeah,
yeah, so Colorado's Supreme Court actually ruled in favor of dropping Trump from the ballot,
yeah,
because of the 14th Amendment, which is an amendment that was signed into law after the Civil War to keep Civil War dissidents, people who were actually convicted of dissension from the U.S., people who had actually dissented from the U.S. and attacked the U.S., and killed brothers and sisters of who, the people in the U.S., of their own, and to keep them out of office and to keep them out of running the government and
yeah,
actually splitting the country in half,
right.
because those people,
Well,
even though the war was over, didn't they? I don't know if you've read your history book or if your history book even mentions the Civil War, but
maybe not so
even
nowadays.
afterwards, a lot of the Southern supporters still were looking for a way to separate and live their life the way that they wanted to live. So
Right.
anyway,
Well,
Colorado signed.
Colorado is the new California. Also,
Well,
also,
there was a little maybe they were smoking the new laws that they've allowed with.
I just think I think the media, likes to push their headlines any way that they can to get a. And I don't know if it's to get a rise out of people or if it's just to let's get the latest and greatest and try to turn some things a certain way
Well, you gotta sell.
or
You gotta sell
agenda.
whatever you're selling.
What's that?
I said you only make money if you've got eyeballs and you're selling whatever you're selling. So
Right.
you know
You need people's attention some way, right? And it's like
that's it.
it used to be headlines on newspapers, and that sort of thing. And now it's well, who can get the clickbait or who can you know what I mean? Like who can have that headline on social media that can draw them into this or that or whatever or spread the most wild story to get people and people's attention, right? And I think that's the frustrating part because it ties now the headlines drive whether you want to call it a narrative or whether you want to call it whatever. Um, the headlines now drive people's opinions to a certain way of how this person or that person is guilty or whatever the case may be. Whatever the headline is going around is gonna create a bias based upon what they read and what they want to believe out of that. Whether because they just see that crammed down their throats, and that's
Right.
the hard part about, like you were saying, it used to be a innocent until proven guilty, but now everybody's pushing. Well, so and so did this, and it's that whole. Okay, well, how guilty can we make them look so everybody turns on them? It's that
That's
mob
right.
mentality, right?
Yeah. And that's what they've done here in Colorado is they've made him they've basically they've ruled in favor of the law. He's never been charged,
Yeah, he's not been
convicted.
convicted. Yeah.
Not one person from January 6th stuff has been brought up on charges of dissidents, and we're like just none of it. So like there isn't there they didn't say it was an insurrection. Like now now Joe Biden didn't help anything this week today, when some plant reporter says is is former President Trump a I don't even think she said former president. I think she said is Donald Trump an insurrectionist? And he gets on there and says, I don't even know what that word is, but I've been hearing that yes, he is obviously, and there's no way he. I mean, it's in front of your face. You know he is
Right.
obviously,
Like, well,
and
what's in
and
front of
then
our face? The headlines and the other stuff,
right,
because
and that's it.
until you can really get down and that's the hard part is it's like everything is classified from us, the people, to the point to
Right,
where we can't see the details. It's like the telephone game.
right,
I don't know if you ever played that in your
right,
classroom when you're in elementary school or whatever, where you start it from the front of the class or from the back of the class or whatever, and you start passing on this and that and everything else, and by the time it
right.
gets to the back of the class or whatever, it's a totally different
Yeah, I
statement
mean,
or
it
whatever.
starts out with like I like toast, and then it gets to like aliens are gonna kill the most or something,
Right,
and
right. Like aliens like boats, or whatever.
right, right, right,
So I mean that's essentially what we get on a weekly basis from
right,
the media and this and that, because the government hides so much of the actual nitty-gritty details, and then we don't know. Okay, well, it all comes down, and we've had this conversation on here multiple times, but it all comes down to, like, okay, well, Fox is saying this, CNN is saying this, MSNBC is basically saying the same thing as CNN. Like, you know what I mean? Like
right,
NPR is saying this, what I mean? Like, you got so many
right,
different outlets that are all saying their own kind of, thing that, okay, well, so what's actually real anymore?
right. And you and that's part of it is are we actually even like getting the truth? Is the truth ever even really getting out? Because it used to be, and something you said is people are now ingesting just the headline, just that
Right,
clickbait. They're seeing that on Facebook go by, and they're like, "Oh, Trump is terrible. Oh, Trump is indicted. Oh, Trump is an insurrectionist.
right,
Oh, Trump is," and they're going, but they're not taking the time to read the actual article, because if they actually put that article out as that Trump was an insurrectionist, and it said in the article that Trump was an insurrectionist, then they would be sued over it.
right.
So what they
Well,
can do is
it's that.
they can put the headline on that he's an insurrectionist, but then in the article they're like, well, because of blah 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 saying he was, that's what we
there's
really meant.
there's allegations that this,
Right.
and but there's that gray area or loophole, if you will, where it's like the headline might say, "Is Trump and
Right.
like this or that or whatever."
Could
It
he
may
be an
may not say
insurrectionist?
he is, but it's like,
Or
is he this, or
no,
is so and so?
it'll be like Trump is an insurrectionist, says blah blah blah.
Right, right, yeah. It's like maybe,
Trump is an
and then what's
insurrectionist.
the worst thing about the clickbait thing too is like the articles, the headlines always get you, and then you click on the
Right.
article, and it's the worst put together article ever, or it's the hardest thing to read because it's like, go to the next page to read more, and you read this
Right.
small little
And there's like
sentence on the
no
next page,
right.
or you got to scroll
Right.
down past 16 ads to get to the it's
Right.
like, jeez. Clickbait stuff, like, that's probably why most people don't even like click on it past the headline. They click on the headline and they're like, Or they
And
see the
that
headline and they're like, "Oh, that's all of a sudden getting." It's like propaganda, new
right,
age propaganda, right? Like now it's
right.
like, "Oh, well, is this the case?" You know? Like,
Well, and that's what that like you have to realize that like this isn't new though.
right.
Like we had tabloids back in the 80s and 90s,
Hmm.
and this is, I guess this was the point I was going to get back to also, was is that the we use it used to be that truth built loyalty, and you would then go to that, like that's why they, now it's just shock and awe. It's just a shock value. You only go and read something because you can see it on, you need to look it up if you want to know. You go
Right, but
Google it.
nobody does.
If you
Nobody
want to
looks at
know,
anything up
you
anymore.
go and
Well, I
Google it.
Google the crap out of everything. I'll be honest.
Right,
I
right.
Google
If
the
you
most random crap. But how
right,
many people get in and actually look up what's actually going on?
that's it.
Most of
That's
the
it.
time,
Is
it's clicking on this article or whatever, or and I don't. I try not to watch like the news.
right,
And you know what I mean? Like I hate to get on like at the gym. I'll see headlines and different stuff, and I'll see they have CNN on and they have Fox and different stuff on and whatnot.
right,
But it's hard to actually like follow it because you have two different opposing headlines and two different opposing
right.
sides. That it's even hard to even pay attention
I
to
mean,
the actual news, quote unquote. Um, so if I really want to find something out, I will Google it. But 9 times out of 10, unless I see like, it from like NPR or one of the, I feel like more neutral, um, or
right,
more
right,
neutral, you know what I mean? Like
right,
unless I really see it like one of those that is more on the neutral side or not as heavy one side or the other,
right.
it's hard to really know. Okay, I'm actually getting reliable information here, or is it just like you
Right.
said that clickbait style of stuff?
Well,
And like you said,
and
the tabloids have changed now to where it's the social media,
yeah,
clickbait stuff. I mean, that's the
your Facebook would have been is like a Sun News or like whatever tabloid it used to be, or
yeah.
and so and you knew that this was an issue and this was a problem when they were paying like $10 million for photos of Princess Diana, and they were,
Mm-hmm.
and those photos are still, still go out there today. Like you're still getting like, oh, I'll pay you $5,000 for a snap of Taylor Swift at the Kansas City game, or else,
Right. Right. Or
so
the
that
pictures of so and so's newborn, to have them on the
right,
first,
right,
like it's got like it started out crazy and then it's
right,
gotten even worse now,
right.
and now it's to the point to where I mean people are losing their minds about stuff and it's such a wild I don't getting into like conversations about the media and all that and like social media and all that stuff too. It's just man, there's so many aspects that drives me nuts. But I guess it's
Right.
it's like you have to take the bad with the good, right? Like there's aspects of it that are really great, and then there's aspects that are like, wow, is this like makes you question
And
like,
and
like,
that's what's
is
even
it really
sad
this
about it
great?
is like you said, is like, oh, I try to go to one of the more neutral sites. Well, like anymore, like even Fox News, that's supposed to be fair and unbalanced, even though they lean right, it's all an opinion.
Right,
Like if you get
right,
on the Brian Kilmeade show, you get on Ben Shapiro, all of those guys, Hannity, it's all an opinion. They're not news reporters. You're just
right.
watching people's opinions all day. And so
Mm-hmm.
if you go here, you go here, you're going to see the far right, you're going to see the far left, you're going to see some guy that's halfway in between, but you're not going to see, you don't see the actual news anymore. Like
Right.
even on the nightly news, like they're supposed to read what happened.
Oh, now it's the opinion of what happened, And that's the hard part about it is like you said, it's driven by opinions now, you know, and it's like
and
it
I
might
can't
it might still be the news, and there might be some truth to what's going on certain occasions, but 9 times out of 10, it's okay. Like, well, we got to spin it this way, or we got to do it this way, or whoever's opinion is the most heard
right.
at that moment. That's what's being shared, and that's
And
the hard part about it. The people. It's like people just suck, and like the
in all
people are
honesty,
that aspect of it that's never
right.
gonna make it like
Right.
better, so to speak, because
In
we're
all
we're still
honesty,
people, you know.
you can't you can't do the news. You can't just report on something without putting some of you into it.
Right.
And that's why we don't have robots doing the news. That's why because it's interesting.
Yeah.
You want to know those people. It's like, we want to have the interview with Honest Abe and figure out who Honest Abe is so that we trust when Honest Abe says something that he's being honest. And so we
We
we as
still
people
it's still a
we're
natural habit for us to have an opinion, right? Like we
we're
have our own.
communal pack people. We want to we want to trust that person. And so but the problem is we've gotten to the point where either we trust too much and we just listen to that person and we
Right.
think, "Oh," but we also think that that person should have if that person believes the same way you do in a certain area, that they should believe the same way you do in every area.
Right.
And we don't give anybody the grace to be like, "Oh, that person is somebody different, and they grew up differently than I did, or they have
Right.
you know, different belief systems and different, environmental learnings that
Their
I
experiences are
may
different.
yeah, their experience like, environmental learnings." Um,
I
yeah.
was translating it for you.
But yeah, experiences are different. And so they, they have a different set of beliefs and different way they do things and there isn't there isn't a wrong way. It's just their way and your way.
Right.
And
Well, and
so
I think we allow the part that makes me nervous sometimes is we allow this. I'm trying to figure out how to word this the best way without without coming out a certain way. Um, we allow things that maybe are not like we're not directly affected by change the opinion of how that person is, or what that
right.
person is to us.
Our
So
view of that person, yep.
right, so it's one, and it's certain situations that people get into that to where they're like, well, they believe this about this, and so I don't know if I can be their friend. Well, I get that you're passionate about that, but how much does that directly affect your relationship? Like realistically, how much does that, like, if I don't know. There's so many different aspects on it, but like, how does that
But
directly change your relationship? You're letting that change the relationship. And and I know people that have broken up about it that have known this person for 15 years, and all of a sudden they have this specific belief or this, specific view. And they're like, well, I don't know if I can be friends with them anymore. And it's like, well, they didn't just build this view in the last 5 minutes. Like, it's like they've always had this feeling of this thought or whatever for a long time. Like how is this person now like impacting your life in a certain way that you cannot be a person, like you can't be genuine with them, or you can't be a person with them. Like
and
it's I don't
And
know, it
you
drives
see
me
that
nuts.
a ton in groups, like followings,
Yeah.
like if you were in AA meetings or you got like it's a big thing in churches. You're like, I literally just I had a friend that, um, just that had a little different belief, and I don't know what happened. 100%, I have a good idea. Not gonna lay it out there on the podcast, um, but all of a sudden, gone.
Right.
Like knew what they were coming into, knew that the church believed a certain way and led a certain way, and was part of leadership in the similar church with the same people before that, and came back and did the thing, and all of a sudden was like disenfranchised by it.
Yeah.
And so and it's like, and at the end of the day, like, as Christians, at the end of the day, you have to sit back and think, is this going to keep me out of heaven? Is this a sin that just, ends all sins, or is this something that just rubs me the wrong way and I just have
Right.
to either get over it and still be friends, or just realize that it's a deal breaker and I'm out.
Right.
And if that's the
And
case, then bye. But if
yeah.
it's not, if it's something that isn't going to, if it's not something that affects you, then why are we just like cutting off our limbs? Like, not to
Right.
be like, no pun intended, but why are
Oh,
we,
we're talking about
because
cutting off limbs.
because each of the people around you are like limbs. They're there to help you. They're there to bring you
Right.
joy. There to bring, and
And
so
I
and that's how we should be.
I get it. So there's two sides to this, because I think we went down this rabbit hole. So, and it's something that
Yeah, we're
I've thought
just
about a
keep it
lot.
going.
Yeah, that's all right. It's something I've thought about for the last like 4 or 5 months. Going through this situation is the like through my process of kind of coming back to things, like there are certain people that were bringing value to my life, and there were certain people that were holding me back in my life, and
Right,
and that's an aspect to where, like, okay, this person is directly affecting you in a negative way, or whatever the case, is not bringing value to your life, or that
right,
relationship is not bringing value to your life.
right,
So that is one of those situations where, okay, this is hindering me in a bad way. Okay, so
right,
you put some distance there or whatever, but but if it's not directly affecting your your ability to be a friend, or whatever the case may be, if it's a relationship that is not affecting you in a bad way, what's the point in cutting it off, like, and
right.
it's one of those situations where, like, I think we get so pinpointed on one specific thing
Right.
that it all of a sudden, like you said, you get this defranchised like mentality that, like,
She's
oh
a
well,
witch. Burn her.
yeah, this person, yeah, this person likes the Reds, and I am a Tigers fan, and I cannot be around Red fans, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
Like, it's you get so focused, and some of that stuff is that critical. Like, people act
Right.
like this is the end all be all, situation, and
And
it's
I,
like,
and I
is it
love those
really affecting your
situations
life? What's
with
that?
sport. I love those situations with sports, especially because it's like, listen, man, you are 5'6", 395 pounds. You've never
Right.
picked up a baseball and thrown it at 90 miles an hour in your
Right.
life. Those guys are making millions of dollars without you.
Yeah.
You didn't have any hand in the fact that they just won last night.
Right.
So why are you ready
Remind
to
me
like
again.
cut off your friends?
Yeah.
These
Please.
guys actually had a hand in your life.
Right.
Those
Like,
guys you
please
watched on a
hand.
TV.
My always thing is, like, like, don't get me wrong. We talk about sports. I love sports.
Right.
Whatever. I
Right.
keep up with it. But I can't tell you the last time that one of those teams paid my mortgage. Like,
Right.
it's like,
Now,
I still have to go to work, and I still have to pay my mortage out of my
like, I
pocket.
mean, you
Like,
put in a good bet
nothing is
and you
changing.
make some money off the bet or something like that, then more power to you.
That's a
Live and
whole
die
different
by the
animal.
game. Live and die by the game. But you
Right.
still can't act like, Paulie Jean that went and moved, was traded to the, whatever,
Right.
is now your worst enemy, and
Yeah. or Otani is now, in Toronto, so now L.A. and Toronto can't be friends. It's like,
Right. Right.
it's, it's so crazy to me. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a whole different animal. But yeah, to go back to it, I think the media the media and even society in general has gotten down to that thing where you
Tunnel
find
vision.
differences and you got to be in this category, you got to be in this category. There's nothing, there's nothing
You
down the
have to
middle
follow.
anymore.
You have to
Yeah,
follow what's important to me at the time it's important to me, or I'm cutting you out.
right.
That doesn't it doesn't matter that maybe later in life I may need you because you follow the same thing I follow at that point.
Yeah.
I'm burning this bridge. I'm taking my ball and I'm going home
You can't
cuz
play with me anymore.
cuz like I've been saying, I got all up in my feelings and now I don't have any friends.
Nope.
Sit in my basement lair ready to attack a 14-year-old for cuz I thought he had my phone. I'll tackle him.
And if you're gonna tackle him, you might want to know how to tackle him. Dang it!
That's right. If you're going to assault a minor, have some form, get
At
some
least do it
dignity,
well.
and learn how to tackle a person.
That's what it is. It's like have some pride in yourself. At least do it well.
at least at least have some pride in what you're doing with your life.
uh, as
Come
I
on.
was I was talking to somebody recently about. You just made me think of this. I was talking to somebody recently about all my injuries and stuff with my leg,
Right.
and they're like, "Wow, you pretty much trashed your whole left leg." I'm like,
Yeah, that well and
"Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
like
When I
I
do it,
told
I
other
do it
people.
well. Like,
I
doesn't
told
matter
people I
what it
was
is."
like the problem isn't really that his leg was amputated because that could be just like okay, let's heal this up and go. It's the
It's
fact that it
relatively
destroyed
minor
the
in
rest of it.
comparison.
It's the fact that yeah, he broke his leg in half the long way, about halfway up.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then
In
so they
three
had to put
spots.
a full on rod in there. There's all these little pieces dancing around
Yep. Yep.
and
Screws across my knee, got
then
screws in my hip. I got a rod holding my hip together, my leg, and like
so
all
I
new
was like
muscles
that
and tendons.
he could have been good to go in a couple weeks. 4 or 5 weeks been all right, ready to go amputee wise. But yeah, no, he's got to come full on from leg destroyation and
Yeah.
while we're creating words
Yeah. Yeah.
and just like piece it back together. He's just like hoping that the world's the Big Bang brings a new country, a new world together,
Right. Right.
so that
We
that
need a new
leg
planet.
yeah,
Yeah.
the new
Yep.
stronger. That's no moon. That's a space station.
Right. We built this city.
We bu- we built this. Like
I
yeah,
mean, that's essentially what happened here. Is we rebuilt all this. It's like
this
a
is no
bunch of
longer
hardware and some rods and different stuff, and we built
right
this.
by by a miracle of modern medicine.
Yes.
we
Yeah.
uh we scienced this.
Yeah.
So,
So if you're gonna do it well,
do it
regardless.
well.
If you're gonna
If you're
assault a
gonna
minor,
destroy it,
assault them well.
destroy it. That's right. Just have a story, get her
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
So,
So any other
well,
Christmas headlines?
let's get to the Christmas, I guess.
Let's bring in some Christmas
Um,
cheer.
some Christmas
Maybe.
cheer here. The Library of Congress adds two iconic Christmas classics to the National Film Registry. They actually added about um 25 new whatever classics or new sorry, I have something added to it accidentally. Doot,
Is
doot,
this
doot, doot,
music
doot.
or is this is movies?
These are movies.
Okay.
Um so it did okay,
Tell
I
me a Christmas
actually
story is one of them.
I think they were added a few years back.
Oh, the Christmas Story was.
Yeah. So all right, there we go. Here we go. The two that were added was Home Alone and A Night Before Christmas, or Night Before
Nightmare
Christmas.
Before.
Nightmare Before Christmas. Sorry, Nightmare Before
Oh,
Christmas.
okay, that makes sense.
Those were the two that were added for Christmas movies. Now they added some other movies, like I said, about 25 other movies were added, including Apollo 13, 12 Years a Slave, um, and basically the Library of Congress adds these movies because of their cultural, their historical, their aesthetic importance. So like movies that, all of a sudden push the like Star Wars, where it pushed the level of
Cinematography and
CG and cinematography and stuff like that to a new level. Things like that. So
well, that's pretty cool.
um yeah, I mean I don't have any problem with it.
Yeah,
Um so
McAllister is now a classic, huh?
yep, yep,
Kevin McAllister. Yeah, I
yep,
saw he just. I saw he just got his star on the Walk of Fame thing too.
yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep. Al Bundy also did. I saw that.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's got to be a pretty big honor, you know, being
Right.
being just a couple steps away from Al Bundy. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure where the two are on their list, but but
Did you see or hear any of the speech from McAllister?
no, I didn't hear anything from Macaulay Culkin on it.
It's
Um,
McAllister. Sorry, Macaulay
no,
Culkin.
so
Okay.
so what I thought would be great is if they, because I don't know if you heard, but they're trying to revamp um the Die Hard series.
Yes, I heard it was supposed to be. It's supposed to be like his son or grandson is supposed to be, or maybe that's
Well, and
the Rambo. The Rambo
well,
one
I
is
know the
like,
Rambo one they were doing
right?
that is they were ramping revamping it with his son, I think. From what I had heard to begin with, and I haven't really followed the story a ton, just to be honest, because they're gonna do whatever they want to do, whether I say
Right.
anything about it or not.
Right, right. We're
Um,
not exactly at the top of the list when it comes to
right. I
entertainment
mean,
and
without Lady
movie
D,
culture.
we have very little credibility in the social graces. Um, but and she kind of killed that with the whole hatred of Taylor Swift like last week. But
No, no.
so
I support that.
um yeah. So anyhow, with it, I thought with them revamping it, and it looked like they were just like going to just like recast it with John Krasinski as
Oh, really? Oh no,
yeah,
I feel like I did hear that
yeah,
because he. What
as
was the other
McLean.
role that he did really well? Um,
He's been doing the Jack Reacher, not Reach, yeah, Jack Reacher.
is it the Reacher or the?
No,
See,
it's
that
not
doesn't sound
Reacher.
right.
It's the other one. It's the Jack Ryan.
Jack. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
he's
been
been doing
he
the
did a
Jack Ryan.
really
It's been
good.
and he's been.
Yeah,
I've really enjoyed it,
yeah,
but
that's what. Yeah, it was the. It threw me off because I was like, Reacher is the dude from
yeah,
Blue
that's the
Mountain
other guy.
State.
Right, right.
But
So
yeah, it was
I
one of
thought it
those
would be
Tom
great
Clancy,
if they
whatever.
redid it with Macaulay Culkin and they called it Die Alone.
Oh, stop.
And they
Stop.
could have said it was his son and everything, and he looks kind of,
Oh, jeez.
and he
Oh,
could have
man.
even said never die alone or something even.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
So
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that one.
yeah, I mean I
I
thought it would
don't
be a
know how I feel
good
about
like
that one.
bring them together and make it a real Christmas movie, and
They should have just, they should like bring, what was, I'm trying to remember who played his daughter in the movie. Bruce Willis's daughter in the movie. There was one where his daughter was
Yes.
in, but
Yeah,
it's not actually his daughter.
right,
I forget who it
like the
was.
third or fourth one, I think it was. The third one it was, wasn't it? Where he like
Yeah,
where like where the car spins around and he gets in the car like without it and
right,
shoots some people
right.
and like the whole thing and it was great. Like and
Are
then
we
he
talking about Fast and the
throws a
Furious? Or
car
talking about
through a
Die Hard?
helicopter. Yeah, I think that was the third one. Um
Yeah, they should use her to
yeah,
play.
they
Maybe
really
not
should. I
maybe
mean,
not
it
play,
should
or
be.
maybe she should have a son, and and then he saves the whole world at the age of 14 or something. Like
Yeah,
if you
that
want
would
to
be
bring Die
sweet
Hard back, like
with
let's
some
do it
like
that way.
it could be a
I'm gonna have to
Die
look into that.
Hard it could be a Die Hard Home Alone type mix where like
You know?
he was left at Nakatomi Tower and
You
didn't
never know.
realize that he was playing some video games or something, had his headphones on and didn't realize that everyone had gone and they're there to attack and he's just like I got some special set of skills. I mean, I'm sorry, that's Liam Neeson.
Are you Liam Neeson
But
now?
I learned them from my dad, my grandpa,
We might as well
and
just bring him flying a drone or something with a chip in it. Some enemy of the state, like
there you
Will
go.
Smith action in it too.
Yep, yep. Some iRobot. It could be robots. It could be robots
Yeah,
taking over the tower.
there you go.
Some
There you go.
AI.
So I'm gonna have to look into this more. They haven't released
Yeah.
any kind of details of like how they're gonna bring it back or
I
that sort
hadn't
of thing.
seen all I had seen is just kind of like the how they
Talk of
throw
it.
on Twitter like a video like a quick snip of
Oh
like
yeah.
storyboards or something like that or a picture of just like one actor doing with an explosion behind him or something
Right. Just a
so yeah
teaser
that's
of some
really
sort.
really all I had seen was like the official like we're looking into
Yeah.
which means like three
We
quarters of the
spent
story's written.
$5,000 to shoot this
Somebody's already yeah
10-second
somebody's already
teaser.
bought a script
Yeah.
from somebody
What are you gonna do
so
though? I mean, I think it's
I mean
it's
at this
kind
point
of a
that they've
bummer.
run out of ideas.
Right. Right. Well, they've ran out of ideas for so many years. That's why Disney's redoing a bunch of their stuff in real life, or what's the
Right.
live action stuff.
Well there's
And
nobody really creative anymore
well, and there's
in
been this
those
big
points.
writer strike and all that stuff
You
too, and
you
all this
can't
other crap.
you can't be stupid woke and actually be creative. Like because you've been so deceived. Because
You would
listen to
offend
this.
someone,
Because you've been
probably.
so deceived, there like you've already used all your creative thinking to just like believe in all of the
Right.
craziness.
Right. Or you can't like. It's like, well, you can't write it this way because then it might hurt somebody's feelings over here. You can't write it this way because it might hurt some. It's
That's
like,
right. That's right.
yeah, yeah.
So this
I
has
don't
already
know.
been written. So people already are okay with this. So we'll just
Right,
use this.
right.
Yeah.
It's like it kind of. I don't know, man. The Fast and the Furious writers have gotten real creative on continuing to drag out this. I mean, because seriously,
Yeah.
like, have you watched the most recent one?
I haven't watched the last
Don't.
3.
I'm just saying, don't even waste your time on the last. I
I
was that disappointed that I was like telling people like it's terrible.
I
Like
noticed your social medias were like, "Don't even
it's
watch
like
it. You've already
yeah.
seen it 3
I think
times."
I think I made a post about it where I was like it's
You did.
terrible. like,
Yeah.
like
I
like
don't
do
think
not
I've
waste
seen
2 hours of your life. Like,
I watched the first 2. I watched Tokyo Drift. I don't think I've seen any others.
yeah,
I think I've
it's
seen
sad
2
because
Fast and
like
Furious, Tokyo, and the Fast and Furious.
there's a little bit of like there's a little bit of like dedication attached to it because you're like okay well I remember when the first one came out and then the second one was the like besides the last one which I don't was it number 10 or 11 or whatever
Yeah.
um number 2 is probably my least favorite of all of them. It was terrible.
I mean, I like
So
DMX in it.
I don't know, man. I
I
don't know.
like I like Ja Rule
Like
in it too,
Ludacris and
or
Tyrese,
Ludacris
and
in it.
like,
Ludacris. I mean, I like him in them, but
yeah, but I felt like the plot of the whole thing was just
it
kind
was
of terrible.
it was a little terrible. It was a little
But
forced.
it's not any more terrible than like the latest one is the worst to me. It's
Okay.
absolutely the worst. Like there's and it gets to the point to where like so there was some realism even in some of the drifting shots and stuff on like Tokyo Drift and like some of the
Right.
heists and different things that they did. You were like, okay, I could see this in a perfect scenario with the best driver,
Right. Right.
whatever. This could happen. Now it's like, come on.
Right.
There's so many different. It's like, oh, we're in a jungle and we're driving through the jungle, and then all of a sudden, of course, there's a path in the jungle, and then you come up and
Right.
there's a
Right.
jump that you're going to jump off the cliff, snag a a bridge, a
Vine.
wooden bridge across the,
Right.
like, and I'm going to swing the car around. It's like
Right.
no way, even in the most perfect world would this ever happen. It's gotten to
You've
that it's gotten to that
unfortunately
point where
lived in CGI for too long now,
yeah, like
and
now you you are smoking something that you shouldn't be
you
smoking.
now think that Sonic the Hedgehog is real.
Right, right. It's like I'm just waiting to watch some like rings pop out of one of the cars when they blow
Right.
up or something. It's like
Right.
oh geez,
I mean, like the Italian Job, yes, no, those cars could not have held all of that gold. It was so
right,
heavy, like, and you
right.
wouldn't have seen, like,
But they made it
if
believable
that
to
car
some
jumped,
extent.
the front would have gone up and it would have flipped around backwards 17 times because all the weight was in the back.
They
But
made it
you could
believable to a certain
overlook
extent,
that.
though.
You could overlook that because you knew that they were actually jumping that car.
Right, right.
It may not
And
have
they
had
and they
it
did,
may not have had a
they,
million pounds of gold in it, but they were
but they even
jumping that
addressed
car.
it though. They addressed that aspect of them doing suspension
They did.
modifications
They did.
and different
Yeah.
stuff, and so like
Right.
there was a certain believability
Right.
attached to it,
Right.
But come on, like they make these crazy modifications done to these cars for the Fast and the Furious stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, we put a jet engine in the back of this Mustang or whatever. Like we're gonna make it do this, and it's like, no, no, you're not.
Right.
Like you're absolutely not gonna. It's not. There's no way possible that this is ever gonna work this way. It's not believable, and even in the slightest. So, and that's my problem. That's not. There's a little rant by Abe tonight.
This
Honest
this is
Abe lays down his honest opinion.
we are giving gifts of Christmas all night here.
Yeah,
All the
yeah.
little
And when
snippets. I mean, you even found out that Honest Abe used to be Jimmy the Cripple Kid before he was Jimmy the Cripple Kid. So I mean, like this is the night of giving. We're giving all of
yeah,
these. So
yeah.
um like just to
Nuggets. We're just
continue
dropping
the
nuggets.
Christmas spirit here.
Yeah.
Um Empirical has dropped 3 new cocktails inspired by, what do you think? Like eggnog? Maybe they're
I
inspired
don't think
by.
that would be as marketable
Yeah,
eggnog.
no. No, no. They're inspired by Doritos Nacho Cheese Spirit. Didn't see that coming, did you?
Why? Why?
Because here's the
You got a
deal.
serious problem if you just want to drink nacho cheese Dorito like come on.
Empirical is a
Are
flavor
you licking
company.
the bowl of butter too?
That's
Like
it.
what?
That's
I was like, what are you doing at this point? Are you
I
drinking your
actually cut
ranch
the
or something?
flavor crystals out of my gum so that all I have is flavor crystals.
it's like it's
They
like
they're a
I am
flavor
literally
company
licking the end of the ranch like
that
bowl.
specializes in creating uncategorized spirits from unique flavors like plum pits or sorghum. The new Doritos Spirit is a vacuum distilled limited edition bottle that smells exactly like opening a bag of chips.
And we're gonna drink it.
That's
Like,
what somebody did. They opened the bag of chips, go, I want to drink that. I want to drink that.
I've got questions. Like, first off, how high were they when they thought,
They're probably from Colorado.
"Ooh,
Probably from
Doritos!
they're
I
from
want to drink
Colorado.
these."
I'm going to drink this.
So, do you think here's my question? Along the long list of questions I have about this,
Right.
this is stop like 3 or 4.
Right.
Was there research and development involved to where they may or may not have put Doritos in a blender with some sort of sauce or something, ground them up, and poured them into a drink to make this as like a preliminary? What's
Um
the what's the over under on that? You think? Yes? No?
yeah, I mean I think they had to have at some point thought, could we put the Doritos flavoring? Could we get the Doritos flavoring from Doritos and take a margarita glass and put it around the outside of a margarita glass? And then you
That's
thought,
probably been done.
so
That's probably
so
been
I
done.
yeah, that's what I think. So then you thought, how could we do this? How could we take this one more step? And somebody thought, let's season the margarita with
Infuse it
nacho
into the
cheese.
margarita. Oh man.
Tacos, nacho cheese, tequila, it all goes together.
Also, yeah. So it's tequila or what's the cocktail mix?
It's
It doesn't
it
say.
is a vacuum distilled liquor.
So they
That's
don't
it.
specify whether it's like a
Yeah, it's
vodka
an
based or what
uncategorized
color.
spirit. So,
Well, that's
while the
interesting.
spirit has an unusually has well, a spirit this unusual can certainly be enjoyed neat. It's also the perfect liquor for experimenting with innovative cocktails at home.
Nope.
So,
That's a big nope.
um, yeah. So they have it's a double triangle margarita. So they do have some recipes. It's 1 ounce of this empirical Doritos Nachos cheese spirit, 1 ounce of Blanco tequila, a 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice, 3/4 of an ounce of agave syrup, chili lime seasoned salt flavored rim, and a lime wheel for garnish.
So it's like nachos. Like that's essentially
Basically,
it's like a drunken. You don't have to drink a margarita and eat the nacho. It's all in one.
right.
That's
This
what
is
that
for
sounded like.
those
It was like
people
all
who
we took the
just
food
read
and
the
the drink, put
headlines.
it in one.
This is for people who just read the headlines and are so sad they want to get drunk without eating.
Right.
But they enjoy a good nacho.
All right. It'll help me. It'll help me shave calories.
Save calories so that I can drink more. So I can drown my sorrows
Oh,
better.
that's
So,
it's. So this is we're just talking about the one you said they dropped 3 flavors, right? And
3
the
flavors.
other ones
Yeah,
were
so
plum
nacho
cake.
cheese. So nacho cheese, they got Doritos yeah, so far all I see is the nacho cheese flavor. This Bangarang one looks decent. They also have a recipe for Doritos chicken katsu. Which if you're not like big on knowing what chicken katsu is, it's like a fried chicken and a Japanese fried chicken. They use it.
Yeah, that
They
would
do it a
be.
lot with.
I don't feel. And it's and the batter is usually kind of crispy, like and
Yeah,
crunchy.
it's super crispy, crunchy batter, and they do it a
That
lot
might
of
not be
times over
terrible.
top of like a ramen noodle or something like that,
Yeah,
or stir fry.
rice or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
that might not be bad.
they do a
I don't
Bloody
know
Mary
about
with
the.
this.
What's that?
They do a Bloody Mary with this. They call it a Mary
See,
Mary.
I don't know. I feel like those two are probably not terrible.
Those are probably the ones you think of right off the bat, like that
Right.
you would think of. This they
But the
call the
whole
one the Doritos Bangarang, which is 2 ounces of the Doritos nacho cheese spirit, which is still weird to say, a nacho cheese spirit. A pinch
like
of smoked sea
these
salt,
things do
a,
not go together.
a squeeze of grapefruit, and a Pepsi and part of a Pepsi, whatever Pepsi to top it off. So it's like kind of like a Paloma Pepsi thing.
Yeah. You lost me at the nacho cheese Doritos
Nacho
cocktail.
cheese spirit.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I'm telling you, this is for those who are too lazy to go out and like that are not going to buy the the table
Nachos and the margarita.
nachos. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, no. I think there's certain things that should be tried, but this is on the fringes of that. This is definitely outside of what should and shouldn't be tried, I think. I don't know. I think when you start to mix odd things into a drink like that, it's a real gray area. And I don't know how I feel about that. I think that's a
Right.
strange combination. It's even like the whole like Bloody
So
Mary side of things. That's a different demographic in its own. Or I shouldn't say demographic.
right.
That's like a whole different world in its own. Like
Right.
getting into like a Bloody Mary aspect of things. But like,
And people are like very very like this is my drink. Like
oh,
in
like
life,
Bloody
people are
Marys, you
very
mean?
territorial of Bloody Marys, margaritas, um,
Right.
your whiskeys, and your scotches. So like it's like you live in a certain territory,
I'm gonna say this.
and then you have teens, and they just drink whatever.
Yeah, yeah, right,
And
right. This is for the
this is
underage people
probably
that are like trying to like drink something different. They're like, well, let's go get drunk. You know what I heard? I think my cousin can get me some
get a bottle
Doritos.
of that Doritos liquor.
That's why teenagers think that Fireball is great because they don't
Right.
know anything else.
It's called
Four Locos
Fireball.
was Four Locos was popular because people underage got it.
That's right.
uh,
You
yeah,
got
I
when you're
I don't
underage,
know.
you've got two things. Two things. You got cheap and you got terrible that no one else wants to drink, and that's why
Right,
it's in your dad's liquor cabinet still.
right,
Is somebody
right,
brought it, they all tried a shot, it was trash. He threw it in the liquor cabinet and no one's drank
right.
it since. It's probably 14 years
Yeah,
old.
you have
It's probably how you
alcohol
were
and you have
conceived.
no alcohol, and,
That's right.
and you take what you can get when
All right.
it's
Scavengers.
yeah. I don't know, man. I don't. How do you feel
Yeah.
about that? I don't know. It just sounds like a
I
bad
mean,
day.
honestly, I think of it two ways. I think there are all of these traditional drinks, and for some reason, we get like super involved in these, like the tradition of making alcohol, which
Yeah.
really like kills your traditions anyhow. Like you just like the tradition of making of drinking alcohol. So we get all up on our feelings about all that. And then there's the thought of why not?
I
Like
see
we
both
want to
sides
push
of it because
you want
I
to push
didn't.
the envelope of just like what you can ingest. Like you want to take these like gold plated nachos and or these tacos, you're on the on the quest to find the greatest of, you know,
Well, that's kind of the
which
fun
is
of that's the kind of the fun of like experimenting with different
right.
foods and that. So it's really hard for me on this one, and I understand where you're getting at it
Right.
because like I didn't get into like bourbon and whiskey and stuff because I'm like, oh, I just want to get hammered, Like I got
Right.
into
And that's
bourbon and
it.
whiskey because I liked the different flavors and trying
Right.
different things and that sort of thing. So
And it's cool that it has a history and stuff to it.
right, but every like there yeah, but there's so many different flavors in the bourbon and whiskey world. So I could understand what's the right word? The like the
The
attraction or
snobbery.
whatever to like
Yeah.
trying something different.
Right.
My only problem is I feel like I've been down this road before with like trying odd concoctions when it comes to like cocktails and different, like Haley likes to do this sometimes where we'll go out someplace and they have like their signature cocktails or they have like
Right.
some different places. She's like, oh, this sounds interesting, so I'll try it. And she gets it. And she's like, oh, this is not so interesting now. Like, it's
Right.
actually pretty terrible, you know. And,
Well, and
and
that's
I guess that's part of the fun of it. At the
right.
same time, this doesn't sound interesting to me. I like I can't. I understand
It does
the I
seem
don't know the
like though
lure or whatever
something
of it,
right.
but yeah, I don't understand wanting to actually try it. I don't know.
At the same time, like the experience of like, oh, I had a Doritos alcohol, or oh, it's kind of
Well,
like saying, because this is it. It's kind of like saying, I had a 200-year-old bottle of tequila. I had a shot from a 200-year-old bottle of tequila. Am I going to do it again? I'm probably not going to spend the $175 to do it again.
right, right.
I mean, maybe I
But
would
I did
do,
it.
yeah, maybe I would do the, the glass of whiskey or the next
Yeah,
one
yeah.
that pops
Something
up,
else.
you know,
It's something that you would
but
try once and you might not revisit again.
right, but it
Yeah,
would be,
I get
but
it.
I experienced this
Yeah,
in a
it's
world
like
of experiences. Because I mean that's really where the world has become. Like all of the millennials, they're willing to rent a house so that they can go experience things, or so that
right.
and so that's kind of where in the world of experiences, this is another one. They're playing to their base.
Oh yeah.
Your 60-year-old that's just drinking Johnny Walker Blue
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
is
later in life, you're probably pretty rooted into. You're like, yeah, I
yeah.
don't think I'm gonna
You're
try
you're
that.
not
I
you're
tried
not
that
going
fermented
to
shark one time back when I was 25. Like, I don't
you're
think I'm gonna
you're
try it
not
now.
going to put this tequila this Doritos Nachos cheese spirit in your decanter and have some martinis.
Yeah, something. Yeah, I think I
Uh,
would probably try it in like a Bloody Mary or something like that.
Right.
Let's just.
That seems like the safest way because you're already putting like tomato juice, you're putting some hot sauce maybe. You
Right.
got like a piece of bacon in there or something.
Smells like
So,
cheese and tomatoes. It's like
you're
a
three
cheese
quarters of the way
pizza.
to a good set of nachos anyway in a Bloody Mary.
Right. Yeah,
You
no,
you're
that's pretty
you're
wild.
if you ever thought, how do I get the cheese into my Bloody Mary? Here you go.
Now you can do it.
Problem solved.
And now
Nacho
you can do
cheese.
it. Now you can do it. Yeah.
Oh,
I
I
don't know.
hate
That
to
it reminds
follow.
me of when we traveled to Iceland. Like we had some friends that went previous to us,
Yeah,
and was like, the shark is terrible. Like, just don't have fermented shark and this and that. I'm like,
right,
okay, well, what's fermented shark? Like, it already sounds like it would be different. But we
right.
had an opportunity, and I tried it, and I was like, okay, it's not great.
It's
Like,
pretty
it's one of
terrible.
those situations where, like, okay, we could take your word for it, or we could try it on our own. And
Bucket list.
so now I'm
Boom. Off.
right
Good.
now I feel like I'm talking myself into, well, what happens if 10 years down the road somebody's like, oh, hey, I remember when they came out with this nacho cheese liquor. I'm like, did you ever try that? I'm like, you know what? No, I can't get it now. Now I'm kind of kicking myself.
Now I'm sad about that. Yeah,
I wouldn't
there
buy it.
there are
If
things
somebody
that you
had it in front
throw
of me, I would try it.
there are things that you throw on your bucket list that you're like, if the opportunity arises, I will do this. But if
That's
I'm not going, like, there are certain things that I won't drive 100 miles for, but there are things
right.
I will drive 100 miles for 15 minutes to eat them and
Yeah,
then leave 100 miles back.
yeah, yeah. I'm not going to seek it out. However, if
Right.
the
This is not one
opportunity,
of those
that's the
seeking
best way to
moments.
say it. Okay. Yep. All
If
right.
Taco Bell, if Taco Bell Cantina, and I walk into it and they have this, I'm definitely
Okay.
going to buy a Doritos Locos taco
You
and
know
a
it's
shot.
gonna if they can work the deal, you know that it's gonna end up like
It's
in the
already got to
Vegas
be
one
there.
or whatever. Yeah, in the Cantina
Already
one for
has to
sure.
be there.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's like right beside the slushy makers. like,
Right.
like
Right.
who wants the nacho cheese liquor? Oh
Get
man.
yourself a nacho cheese margarita.
Yeah.
Oh man. So, we're getting into the part of the podcast where we're kind of in overtime. Been on for almost 2 hours here. We're going to
Yeah.
kind of come a little fast and furious here, but we got to bring some Christmas joy. And remember though that there are some things that happen if you've had too much Christmas joy, and this is one of the PSAs. So, Sky News reported today that well, actually, wait, let me make sure this today. Yeah, yeah, Wednesday, December 20th. So, yesterday, they put it out. There has been a study that found that penile fractures increase during the weekends and over Christmas. So, if you're one of those that indulges in extracurricular activities with your significant other over the Christmas Eve, Christmas weekend, just, don't overdo it. It's Christmas, it's exciting times. There are possibly some issues that you could there goes Honest Abe. So, yep, PSA, increased risk of fractures over Christmas. Doctors are warning, don't make sure you proceed with caution. So, with that being said, there's good news for vegetarians. Newsweek put out today that vegetarian Christmas for vegetarians may have gotten cheaper. You're back. I see you.
Can you see it now? It
Yeah,
froze up on me
I
right when you
I
said
kept waiting for
the
you to
headline.
respond to the penile fractures, because last time when your camera went out, it just went out, and then there was some like talk, you could still talk and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically that was that. Vegetarians had got good news that it actually may be cheaper this year to eat vegetarian during Christmas dinner. Data
Well,
by
I mean, as
the
opposed to like eating like ham and so forth. I mean, specific
Well, as
animal products.
opposed to eating vegetarian last year. Basically, they're saying that vegetarian foods or vegan foods have dropped in price over the last year or so here.
So it's that end of the spectrum and not the end of the
Yeah.
spectrum. Like animal products have gotten more
No, they're
expensive.
not saying that it's cheaper to eat animal products than or vegetarian than animal, They're saying that based on the cost of vegetarian items, that it has dropped almost 5% over the last year for a
Wow.
family to four. Yep.
It's gonna be a really. No, I shouldn't say this. It's gonna be an amazing Christmas dinner.
Oh, so great. Um, yeah, they basically said the data shows that Christmas dinner will cost about $80 and 60 cents, nearly 5% more than last year for a family to four to eat like turkey and pastries, pies, all of that stuff. And like the prices of sauces have seen a jump from the last year. However, vegetables were nearly down about 1%. And this holiday, that potatoes saw a dip in price more than 3%. I mean, I don't see a lot of vegetarians that are just like, oh, mashed potatoes and yeah,
Like, what do you
because you
like?
can't have
Are
gravy
you eating just? Are you
and you're not
eating
having
just?
butter.
Well, yeah, but like as a vegetarian, like, are you eating just like side dishes, or are you are you getting like a are you getting like a black bean burger and stuff like that? Like, I mean, I know
Well,
there's
and
there's
that's
alternatives to things,
they're
but like,
basically
what is
saying
your main course
they're
really look
basically
like?
saying that because the vegetarian food was already so high, like you said, your manufactured proteins, your soy proteins, your veggie burgers, all of that stuff. Anything that had that was already being manufactured to get you through a vegetarian diet with the right proteins and stuff like that, and still satisfy you like you're a carnivore, which don't get me started on that. Um, is is like, because it was so high, because now it's so much more accessible, and because you use it so much more and people are making it in bulk and stuff like that, it's not all small batch, that they've been able to drop the prices. And so even with
God,
inflation, they're able to drop the prices on the vegetarian items. And even though groceries have jumped up a little over 10.5%, there it is.
gotcha. All right,
That's what vegetarian has dropped 5%. You're still paying more than we are, but
right.
it's
It's more
cheaper than it was
affordable.
last year.
Yeah. Well, cool. I guess.
So if you've ever had this inkling, might be a vegetarian, which it's not one of those things
Now
like you
is
were
the
born
time.
with.
Now
I
is the time.
Now is the time. It's better time than any time that there's been.
Food prices for a vegetarian is 5%
They're
less.
starting to drop. Will it drop? Yep, yep.
I mean, I think that's like, and because that doesn't just affect the vegetarians too when it comes to like certain products, like the potatoes, stuff like that, like that you were saying. That makes it
Yeah.
cheaper for even people that, okay, well, I want cheesy potatoes or I want whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you want other products, so it doesn't make it.
It
How much
also
of an
affects
allure is it?
your
Is it still going to be more
carnivores and
expensive? But
yeah.
for the carnivores and stuff, it's just like, and that's again, and I think it's funny with the headline stuff is like, it's even cheaper to eat as a vegetarian now, and it's like,
Right.
okay, well, it's also cheaper for us to eat all the other stuff. Like,
Right.
but
But they were
like
they
you
were
said,
and they were saying because of sauces and it being more expensive and things
yeah,
that vegetarians wouldn't eat, that's how they were pushing it,
the
at least,
protein. Okay, I gotcha. All right.
I guess.
Well, I mean, that all makes sense. What
So,
are you gonna do?
what are you going to do?
Just
So,
gonna probably continue my same
same
lifestyle as
eating
far as
environment.
everybody.
Yeah, just
Yeah, yeah,
drinking nachos and going to town.
yeah, yeah. No, no.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, here it is. The Christmas joy that you've all been looking for, since we've kind of debacled that all episode. The polls of Christmas. So I
Oh
got on
boy.
BuzzFeed, which is super accurate on all their polls, has brought out a Christmas set of polls. I think it's maybe 10 of them. Real easy. First, which color reminds you of Christmas? Red, green, white, or blue?
Red.
71% of people voted with you.
Yeah.
24
I
green, 4
green.
white, And 1% of people who don't matter, blue.
What? I don't understand how blue reminds you of Christmas.
Blue Christmas with Elvis and all of that, you know.
Yeah, still, that's not like red has to be the dominant color in Christmas
Red
most of the
is.
time.
Red is
You know?
71%. Yeah.
Yeah. I would think like red and green, obviously, but
Right.
green by itself reminds me of St. Patty's Day or whatever. You
Right,
know,
right,
like
right. Yeah, you can't, yeah. Luck of the Irish. That's not Christmas. Oh, I mean, it's kind of lucky sometimes. You're like, oh, what did I get under the tree? Um,
right, but red by itself
right,
would probably make most people lean to Christmas. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Like if you were to look at colors
Could be
individually,
Valentine's Day, though.
man, that's pink. I read it. Red is
But
another
pink
like
could be
heavy.
Easter.
Yeah,
What about the
that's the
4th of
whole
July?
pastel. 4th of July. Well, see, that's another one. Red, white, and blue. Like you can't like
Right.
there should
It's
be
hard
another
with one
poll. We're gonna
color
have to
because you
check
would
in
think
July.
Christmas would be, red, green, maybe some white if you had to like add a third
Yeah.
color.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Right.
So next one. What do you put on top of your tree? A star, an angel, a fairy, a bow, nothing, or other? What's the other? You're putting a giant pig, or you skewered your grandma, or I mean, yeah, I went there.
Is is do they mean by fairy? They mean like angel?
No, because they have star, angel, fairy, bow,
Oh,
nothing,
okay. Angel
or
was its
other.
own.
Yes,
I think
angel,
star is
then fairy.
probably pretty. I think
Yeah,
star is probably.
we do a star. We've had an angel, but we normally do a star. Yeah, 66% star,
Oh, okay.
18% angel, 7% other, 5% nothing, 3% bow, 1% of those people who don't matter put fairies on their top of their tree.
What's a fairy on their tree?
People that don't matter.
No, see, now I will say in a previous life, I had I'd gotten like this. I remember maybe bought this like blanket or something, and it had like a moose wrapped around it,
Yeah,
and it was like
yeah,
Velcro or whatever.
yeah.
And in a previous life, we had that as the tree topper instead of like
And
a. So that could be
and I
considered
could
like
see
any
that
other
as
like
like
stuff
an
like
other.
that.
Yeah, you I could see other as a pretty good side. Yeah, like I mean, you got 7% other. I could see that as something
Yeah.
you theme your tree to cars, or you theme your tree to you'd put
Right.
something other on there.
But I agree with the poll. I think a lot of the most common is probably a star or an
Probably a
angel or
star.
something.
Yeah, angel. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you prefer receiving gifts or giving gifts?
Me?
Well, I mean that's the poll.
I prefer to give gifts. I don't
Okay.
really like the whole gift thing. I feel like and I hate to say it that way, but I just recorded like my own stuff early, last week or something about that. It was a whole rant about like the whole gift giving thing.
Yeah.
Like I prefer to give gifts because I feel like the gift aspect should come from a certain place, and I
Yeah.
know the gift aspect comes from a certain place for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
My
so
problem. Go on.
no, I was just saying, like, for me, I hate the aspect of like the whole gifts giving and all that stuff in general.
So,
Because if I want
yeah.
something,
So,
I'll buy it or
right.
whatever. But I still understand, like, as much as I want to give, other people want to give too. I guess so. You know what I
Right.
mean? I would prefer to give because I'm also kind of an awkward person when like receiving gifts or receiving something because I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Like, but I never react. I feel like appropriately. Like
Well,
I don't
and I
know.
always feel like everybody gets gifts for each other and everything, and you're nervous about did I get enough? Did I spend enough? Did I buy
Right?
something that was thoughtful enough? Did I and like yeah, it just all of those other things on top of it though just ruins even giving gifts. You're
Right.
like,
All this
so
added
then
stress.
somebody else gives you the gift and you haven't gotten them a gift and you feel like a jerk, and then
Right.
you're the Christmas jerk. And
Right.
that just, how do you redeem yourself? You be the, you be the Valentine's savior, or I mean, you marry them, or
I just
like it
it's
just
like
puts
the
people into a
social
bad
aspect
situation.
of it, right? Yeah, it's like the
Right,
social aspect of like this world has just changed so much into that like aspect of giving gifts, and there like you said, there's all this added stress about it. And what kills me about the whole gift giving aspect, and I'll make this short, is like the holidays is supposed to be about spending time with family and friends and
right,
people that matter in your life. Like you're supposed to take time out of your day and out of your life to like spend time with those people.
right,
And we've made it into this whole aspect of like giving people gifts, you know,
right. Oh, what'd you
and
get?
it's yeah, and it's gotten into that point to where yeah, you get anything good for Christmas and like this and that, and I'm like that we've made it so we've flashed that aspect of it so
Right.
much that people forgot about the other aspects of it, and then you add, like you said, you
The
add
social
all of this,
anxiety.
yeah, the social anxiety, the stress, like all this other stuff. Then you add like, well, we got to be able to afford gifts, you know,
Right,
and so there's all that, and well, I got to work overtime because we got to have Christmas money. Well, then now you're taking time away from your family and friends
right.
because
So
you're
that you
working
can,
all these extra hours,
right.
and whether it's before Christmas or
Or
after Christmas, you're making up
you're
the money somehow.
taking hours from your family time to give
Right.
them 15 seconds of
Right,
the
right.
aha
And then
moment.
there's this aspect of like, so and Aunt whatever gave us this, crock pot and this and that, and like I already have
Right.
a really good crock pot. So now what do I do with this extra one?
Do I
Or
give
you
it
know
to
what I mean?
someone else? And then you have
Right.
the anxiety that if you give it to somebody else, you have to make sure it's not in your family. You have to make sure
Right. Right.
you have to
Yeah,
make sure
there's
that
so
you
many
remember who
aspects of
you
the
got
gift
it
giving.
from.
Right, right.
Yeah.
There's so many
Yeah.
aspects of the gift giving thing that just it's gotten to the point to where it's ridiculous now. People are going into like crazy debt for
Right.
Christmas and stuff like
Right.
that. And it's like, man, we've lost all like sense of
Right.
what it should be about, you know? Like people used to make gifts, and that was what the origin of like
Right.
the gift giving thing was,
Yeah.
when it
Yeah,
came
we
down to
did.
like the secular side of Christmas, like that's what it was originally. It was like you made that person a gift or whatever the case may be, and
Right.
now there's some people that I probably wouldn't want to receive a handmade gift from, but
True,
not
true.
to sound
But
ungrateful.
we did handmade gifts with my wife's family a couple years. They were fun. I mean, we just basically for the kids, we made like seek and finds out of like,
Yeah,
canning jars with rice and all that stuff in them,
yeah.
and we made different, like I made different spice blends
Craft
and
or
stuff like
yeah,
that for people, and so things that were in my wheelhouse. I didn't do like paintings or something, but
yeah.
I made some Christmas ornaments with like
You didn't paint a Picasso.
each person's house and their cars in the driveway and stuff and things like that. That was kind of
Yeah,
cool. A
yeah,
little Santa with the two reindeer or three reindeer. I didn't put all eight because that's doing too much.
yeah.
Santa can probably do it with like 30 or 40% less.
Yeah. If he lost a
If you
little weight,
just if you just
you could
worked
probably
out a
fly
little
with
bit,
six. No.
if you just worked out a little bit, we could fly three reindeer.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have to worry so much. I mean, you do know that reindeer are endangered species, right? Or at least they're at least like they're at least on the list of like watched or something.
Yeah, yeah, you can't kill
So
them, and you can't
right,
you can't hunt them.
right.
Anyway, so back to the poll. What
So
does the
back to the
world think?
poll. I- oh yeah, yeah. I didn't even read the poll. I had already seen. I knew what it was. 60% of people said giving. 40% that that were being honest said receiving.
Yeah. Do you think
Yeah.
more people liked receiving over giving, or
I think it's socially responsible to say, or socially accepted to say I'm a giver.
yeah,
But I do think like like if I had to, like if I were just like sitting here thinking, do I want to give or receive the gift? I want to receive a gift because of the social aspect of I have to, if I give you a gift, then I have to like figure out like the level of gift I have
Yeah.
to give you and all of that stuff. And then we're exchanging get like it's just it is easier if you think about it really to receive.
Yeah, I guess so. I
And
still
I mean
prefer
it's
to give over
like
receive.
I want to be in the position to be able to give
Yeah.
what I want to give,
Right.
but I'm like, unless you follow, like, and share and start to supporting the
Yeah.
podcast, you know, where I'm kind of in that position now where it's like how I can give I give out of the abundance, but it's
Right.
it's a lot less abundance than I would like it to be.
Right. Right. Right.
So,
I think that's the part that I was a little frustrated with, um, because I feel like people don't appreciate that. You know
right.
what I mean? I feel like we've gotten so far down this rabbit hole of the giving aspect of it, and there's certain expectations socially
Right.
and all of that people have gotten this mentality that, like, well, I've got to spend this much or I've got to do that, and it's like,
Right. Oh, last
well,
year I
not
spent this, so
everybody's
I've got to spend more this year.
right. Not everybody's situation is the same. So
Right.
you have to respect that aspect of, like, okay, well, like you said, the abundance, you give out of the abundance. Well, so and so's abundance might be $1,000.
Right.
This person's abundance might be
My
$100
my
or
my
whatever.
abundance is definitely not Bill Gates' abundance.
Right, right. But I think people lose that mentality when it comes to Christmas, and then that's why you end up with people that have $10,000 worth of credit card debt to pay off,
Right.
because all of
Right.
a sudden, their abundance
What is and
becomes, oh, a credit limit. you
it's
know?
honestly it's hard because you have kids and the kids, like even with our nieces and nephews, your nieces and nephews expect if you did it for one at this age, you do it for them at this age, you do it for the next, and you kind of start
Yeah.
traditions. And sometimes you don't even mean to start the tradition. It's just that everything becomes a tradition when you've got like 1,400 of them, and they're just
Right,
like, "Oh, you
right,
did it with this one," and then you're like, "What did I do the last time this one turned blah blah blah?"
right,
So,
right. Or you have, like, okay, I'm going to give each niece and nephew $10 or whatever, and then
right,
all of a sudden you have 10 nieces and nephews or whatever
right,
the case may be, or whatever.
right,
Just threw
right.
that
No,
scenario
that's
out
and that's
there.
what happens. Yeah, that's what happens.
All of a sudden now you're buying $25 gifts or $50
Right.
gifts for for 10 people, and you're like, well, shoot. you know
This got out of hand fast. What were you
yes.
guys like? I mean, there's only been one COVID year. I mean, come on, get some
Right.
cable or something.
Right. All right.
Buy
What's the
Netflix.
next one?
Do you usually host Christmas at your house or do you go somewhere else? My house, someone else's house, we take turns hosting or other,
Oh,
which I
this
don't
is
know
a
what
good one.
like what the other is. Like maybe that's we don't go to a house, we go to a shack or a camper or we
They
find a
rent. They
hotel to
might
go
rent
to.
a place,
Well, yeah, I was gonna say some people rent. We have a family that
like
we
hall or a
big
banquet
enough
or
that
something.
nobody's house is really big enough anymore, and so
Yeah.
we rent a hall.
Um, I would say most people say go elsewhere.
Yep. Yeah, most people, 39% say someone else's house, 36 my house, 18 take turns, and the 7% that matter are other because they've got it
I
figured
think.
out. No one has to clean before. You don't get the yelling and the fighting, and then like all of a sudden the door opens and you're like,
Yeah.
"Yay, everyone's
Yeah.
here!
Yeah.
Get the
Yeah.
door!
I
Get the
think.
door!
Yeah.
You didn't
What are
wash
you,
the
born in a
floor!"
barn? Like,
Right,
I think. Yeah. No. I think it probably really depends on um ages of
right.
what this poll was, because I'm sure
Well,
most
and
younger
again, it's
people will probably go elsewhere, And
Right.
most, it's like you go to your parents or you go to the
Right.
grandparents or whatever the case may be.
Like
Like
even
I think that's
like
probably the majority of it. You know,
like even us this weekend going to our parents' house, and my wife going to her parents, and yes, we're still gonna have a Christmas at our house because we have a child, but you
right?
know,
But like Christmas is like spending time with the family, like the whole
right,
family. Like, you know what I mean? I can still remember like having our own Christmas like with your spouse, or having your own Christmas with your significant other or your small family or whatever the case may be.
right,
But do you look at that as like Christmas, or do you look at like the
right.
Christmas with the whole family? That's actually Christmas. You know what I mean?
Well,
I mean,
I mean, I guess it depends on if you increase your risk on penile fractures.
That's true. That's true. I didn't hear the whole basis of that. I'm gonna have to go back and research that one because they
Yeah,
get cut off.
basically, yeah, you'll have to read that. That's
Yeah.
yeah, the whole thing wasn't interesting. It was more the
Okay.
headline than anything, but
All right. I'll have to go down that one. All
so
right. So what's the
next
next?
one is, do you put lights on your Christmas tree?
Yeah, I think you're insane if you don't.
Yeah, 97% of people said yes. 3 that don't matter said no.
Wow. What do you like? What are
3%,
you, a
yikes.
psycho? Like,
Like, what do you
no.
do? Like,
Yeah. What are
you
you?
just have a dark tree? Like, your
Yeah.
trees
Like,
just sits
what are
there?
you, a
It
psycho?
doesn't
Like,
blink, it doesn't light up, it doesn't show you something?
I feel like you're. Are you a serial killer? If you,
Right,
what?
right.
What do you mean you
You
don't put lights
disassociate with
on your
light on
tree?
your tree?
Even the fancy people that have people come and decorate their tree has like a single color light on their tree, like
Right,
yellow
even
or
if you have
white
a
or
theme,
whatever.
you could
What
have
was
a
that?
blue Christmas theme and at least you have blue lights.
Right, right. Wow. No, I think yeah, no, I think that's fairly accurate. That's a really heavy-handed like poll there, huh?
Right,
People really believe
92%,
that. That's one of those
97%.
traditions you don't realize that's a tradition until you're like, well, yeah, are you stupid? Do you not like
Right?
you're
What
crazy if
else?
you don't
What
put
would
lights
you
on your
do?
tree?
If you didn't put lights on your tree, why have a tree?
Yeah, yeah,
So the
yeah.
next question follows that is, do you put ornaments on your tree?
Now, see, now this one I could see going two different ways because I think there are people that decorate their trees with themes and like certain things. And is an ornament just any ornament, or is it like personalized ornaments? You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
it's anything that is not lights.
I think most people do.
Yeah, 98%.
I was gonna say I think that's another close one that I was gonna say that's another close one that I think you could be borderline psycho if you just put lights and no
Unfortunately,
ornament.
because I have a 2-year-old this year, we have one ornament on the tree. Well, we
Okay.
have two now. We have a topper, and then
Oh, there you go.
we got an ornament tonight, and so we put that on the tree and showed our 2-year-old, or almost 2-year-old, that, see, there's things that we put on the tree. Don't touch them. Yeah, we felt like we didn't want to say no so much.
Yeah,
So we took
I
the
get
reason
that.
to say no away and just left the lights on, and she can kind of crawl around the tree
Yeah,
and enjoy the tree herself, because really she's been like when we turned on the lights the first time, she was like, "Oh." She was
yeah.
the
It's just
coolest though
like
when we were walking through, like, we go out and we traditionally cut down a Christmas
yeah,
tree. Like, we
yeah,
kill a live thing, bring it into our house, stand it
yeah.
up, make it look pretty, and dance monkey dance to it. And and so, like, I like the whole week leading up to, because we do it the Friday after Thanksgiving, and so the whole week leading up
Mhm.
to that day, I'm like, Mila, we're going to put a live tree in our house. And she's like,
Ooh.
yeah, she just looks at me like, I don't understand what you're even
And then you
saying.
did it, and she was
And
like,
then we did it.
"Oh,
Like, we went out to the tree farm, and she's
yeah."
like three
See, she's
quarters of the
getting to
way.
that age. She's getting to that age to where she's
Yeah,
starting to understand like that kind
right.
of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's
it was pretty great. Like, literally, she was like arms in the air, like whoop, like all the way
yeah.
to the back of the
Like
Christmas tree
that's
farm.
our tree.
Everybody's like, Yeah, tree, 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 tree.
That's cool.
So
I
yeah,
think,
it
yeah.
was a good
So
time.
I would understand. I would understand that, like, with the case of having dogs too. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
not to compare, not to
No,
compare Milo to a
I
dog,
understand
but you
like
know what I
the
mean. Yeah.
the
Like,
activity around the tree. Like last year, I had
right,
to build an actual fence around our Christmas tree so that she
right,
didn't get into it.
right.
So like this year, we just were
Well,
like,
there's a
she's
lot of people that
bigger.
do that,
She pushes
where
down
they
the
put like,
fence now. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
There's a lot
hopefully
of people
next
that do
year
that too, where they
she's
put
a
like
little
a,
farther along. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm waiting until she's like 4 or 5, and then we can put the train back around the tree type thing, and
And she
you know,
can decorate or help
yeah,
decorate more and that kind of. She appreciates
right,
that. Yeah, that's it's
right,
the purpose of a decoration. Yeah.
right.
Okay. So
She
I
enjoyed the
guess
lights
I could
outside.
understand like
Yeah, not.
certain aspects of not decorating a
I
tree
mean, we did
completely.
put lights on. We're not barbarians.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not psycho or anything.
We're not psychos.
Yeah.
So, the next one is how big is your tree? Which I feel is a subjective answer. Like it's very
Yeah.
big, it's medium, it's small. I don't have a Christmas tree.
Oh, so it's not even like actual sizes. It's just very big,
No, it's not
medium.
like a
Like,
5 foot, 6 foot, 7 foot. Like it's subjective.
yeah. It all depends
So
on what kind of space
I
you
feel like you
have,
have to
right?
say, okay, based on my house, do I get a small tree? Do I get a medium-sized tree, or do I get one that actually doesn't fit in my house? So, like, if you
I think
have 8 foot
I think
ceilings
most people get a medium size,
and you
right?
get a 9 or a 10 foot tree, you got a very big tree. But if you
Right.
already live in, if you've got 20-foot ceilings and you get like a 16-foot tall tree, then you probably got a medium-sized tree, even though
That
that's a
actually
very big tree.
that actually makes me think about this though, because we have we like vaulted our ceiling in our living room, right? Like,
Yeah,
I mean, it's gonna be huge when it's
right.
done. It's gonna be huge. So,
Huge,
but we're gonna
huge.
have a lot of like headspace to it, and I've
Yeah,
like always wanted to have like a taller tree like that,
right.
Um, but it's actually a possibility now.
But it's an actual
Yeah,
tree. Like when you get
yeah,
it that tall, it's an actual tree. It's not like
yeah. It's like
we
actually
grew
a
this tree
possibility to
for
do
two
something that's
years or 3 years.
over
It's a
8 foot.
7 foot tree. Like I could
Yeah,
carry this tree over my head.
yeah.
Like that's the
So
tradition every year is I get the picture with me carrying holding the tree on my shoulders
right.
above my head. You get to a 16-foot tree, you're not doing that no more.
No, no.
Well, I mean, maybe
So
you're doing that, but
I don't know. We'll see. I guess. So what was the answer? I have to say it's
so
probably like medium.
yeah, everyone pretty much put medium. 73% put medium, 15% put very big because you always get that like we went out looking for a shorter, slimmer tree, and all of a sudden we came back with one of those big old
Right,
furry like trees that were
right.
expanded
And if you
out
have the
16 foot,
space,
and then it went like 22 feet tall, and we only had a 10 foot ceiling, and we didn't realize what was going on with our
we had
lives,
to end up
so we had to
cutting the
cut.
bottom off
Yeah, we
more.
had to cut like yeah, we cut half a tree
I
off.
think, like if you have the space, I think why not? Like, you know what I mean? So
Right,
obviously, there's people that have like, most standard ceiling heights are like 8 foot. So
right,
or right at 8 foot. So it's like,
yeah,
I think that probably how that scenario probably happens. But if you have like the space to do a big tree, like why not?
right.
Like
It's always gonna be big, and well, like yeah.
that'd be cool. You know,
But at the
like
same yeah,
I think if
I
you
think
put
at
a
that
small
same
tree in a
time
big
that
room,
like that's why I said with it being subjective is depending on your size, you either have
right?
a medium, which is the right size, you have a small, which is you're not even trying. You have no tree, which means you're either a retiree, single, sad, lonely person,
Or you're
widower,
a bachelor
or
or something.
or
That,
you're a
yeah,
bachelor that travels too much, or you're on vacation during it.
right,
Something
right.
something has happened. Your Christmas is going to be terrible because you don't have a tree. Santa can't come. um
Don't even have a tree to
you
decorate.
don't even have a tree, you don't even decorate, no lights, no, you're probably you're a step above being Jeffrey Dahmer or something.
Right. You're
So
borderline psycho at that point.
you're borderline, gonna be on the naughty list.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah. So
I've been that person once or twice in my life.
yeah, I've been there too. I've been there too.
Oh boy.
I think even though in college we had like at least a fake like tree on the table that was too small.
Oh, so it
Do
was a
you
small one.
have Do you have an elf on the shelf?
I don't have kids, so no.
I don't either.
That's a newer tradition too. Well,
Yeah.
it was an older tradition that got revamped like in the
Yeah, they
last
kind of
10 years
I
or
think
whatever.
yeah, it's just it's kind of the way you you kind of entertain your kid at the same time as keep them in line.
Hmm.
If you touch the elf, he dies. If
Right.
you you know,
You
if
move
you
him,
don't
touch him.
do good if you don't do good things, the elf is watching you. He's going to tell Santa you're not going
Right.
to get anything. Yeah,
Right.
type thing.
I think, yeah.
74
No, what's that? Go ahead.
74% of people say no. They do not have an elf.
Yeah, I think it's like I really do think it's something that has come back, and it's one of those things that it's like it's a newer
Yeah.
tradition in that sense
I
because I
think it
know
came
it was
back
like
and
big
then I think
years and years ago, but
it's starting to slide back out again, I think.
yeah, I think
As
it's gotten to
more
be something
parents
that was fun
realize
for younger.
it's way too much work. Like you have to
Right,
pose the elf every day into a
right.
different way, or you're being lazy, or Instagram's going, you're not keeping up with the Joneses on
Oh
Instagram.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. That's true.
So
Yeah,
next
I don't
one
know.
is,
Go
do you
ahead.
believe in Santa?
You know, see, what did they do? Did they poll kids? like, like I have to think that
They
most
polled
people
about
do not.
12,000 people.
But it doesn't say like what ages or anything like that. So how do
No,
you,
this is
you know, it's
BuzzFeed. So they pulled a lot of drunk millennials.
probably, yeah.
Not
So I would
drunk
say that most
on
people do
beer
not.
or something like whiskey or something like that, unless it's that real weird snobby whiskey. But
It's
it's mostly wine drunk millennials.
wine drunk millennials
Right.
or Fireball or something. Yeah. So
Yep, there is some
I'm
fireball
interested to
millennials.
hear how many like because I can't imagine that they're polling kids too much. So most
No,
it's got to be like a
that's what I'm
98 or
saying.
99% no, right?
No, no, it's 63% no, 37% yes.
What are people living under a rock that they still think the Santa happens? Like the Santa is
Um,
real? How,
yeah, I mean, there's people out there running around with Pokemon Go believing Pokemon Go is real. Like Pokemon are real.
do they believe that it's real or they just know it? It's a game. Like
No, it's they believe it's real. Like I can't lie. I mean, I play some Pokemon Go and go out and do,
yeah, but that's a
get some
different.
exercise and just play it, but at the same time, I don't, I don't believe that I'm actually going to see a Charizard in real life. Although that would be
Right.
sweet, especially if he just like comes down and burninates somebody that I don't
I
like.
just I have a hard time listening to this stat that 37 or 36% of these how many you said 12,000 people or
Yeah,
whatever
12,000 people. So
believe that
roughly
Santa
6,000
is
people,
real.
roughly almost 7,000 people believe that Santa is real. But I can say, okay, so I can say the spirit of Santa is real. The spirit
But that's
of
not what the question
giving
is.
gifts. Yeah, but some people don't really read the questions and they just say yes or no.
Oh,
We're actually
I mean,
obviously
you're.
thinking more about these questions than most people.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, most people don't have a conversation about the whole poll questions, right? Like they just answer. But still, I don't.
Let's go on Cosmo
But
and have a
it's like, how do you?
conversation about
I don't understand how 7,000 people in this 12,000 poll. That's a good chunk of people still. Like 36% think that
37,
Santa
yeah,
is real.
37% say that Santa's real. Yes, they believe in Santa. They don't say that Santa's real, they just say they believe in him.
They bel they believe in
So
Santa.
it's much like my belief in Sasquatch or Bigfoot.
No, no, it has
Yes,
no
it's much
bearing
like that
whatsoever. It's not
because I
similar to.
believe, I want to believe he's real.
You want to believe that Santa
I
is
want
real?
to believe, no, I want to believe that Sasquatch is real, but there is absolutely no evidence. And all of
Santa
these
isn't
people
even like I could
out
see
there,
Sasquatch being more realistic. Like I could see a mountain man or some crazy creature that we haven't, found yet, more realistic than some like a fat old dude with a white beard is
mythical
hopped in
old
a
man.
sleigh and is flying around with some
Hey,
reindeer.
they've already
Like,
explained it
come
on the Santa
on.
Claus. They've already explained it,
I
how it
know.
happens.
I'm saying bullcrap. There's no way. There's no way that you compare the two to some like
Now
crazy
that
creature that we haven't.
you've killed all children's and almost 7,000 millennial wine drinking millennials who hopes and dreams by telling them that Santa does not exist.
Well, don't throw your 5-year-old
Who,
onto the Why I'm Angry podcast and have them listen to me.
who is your favorite reindeer?
No.
Rudolph, Blitzen,
Oh.
Donner, Cupid, Comet, Vixen, Prancer, Dancer, Dasher, or I don't know.
Uh, I think there's going to be a large amount of people that like Rudolph.
Ricky.
But yeah, I do. But I think
Okay.
like Blitzen or Dasher or something is probably pretty high up there because of the
I
name.
I picked I picked Dasher.
Yeah,
Rudolph is obviously the top. He is,
yeah,
the most famous reindeer of them all. Yeah, he's got a song even about him. Dasher has
yeah.
no song. Blitzen has
He's
no
the cool
song.
cat.
So he's got 44%. 15% said, I don't know. Like, what are these 15% of people? What are these 2,700 people doing with their lives? They're not thinking about who their favorite reindeer is. I mean, come on. Stop
Obviously,
wasting your
you
life
think that
away.
Santa's real.
Stop wasting your life
You've
away.
got to pick.
Yeah,
Gun to
and
your
pick a
head. Have
reindeer.
to
Get off
pick.
the fence. This is why people with 2-star, 3-star, and 4-star reviews get no t-shirt.
Be one way or the other.
Right. So
That's
9% Comet, 7% Vixen, 6% Cupid, 5% Blitzen. We're way on down on the list.
wow.
4% Dancer, 4% Dasher, Prancer 4%, Donner 2%. Probably because he got kind of caught up in that Donner party that ate the
Yeah,
people, and that he's kind of,
I
probably got some
think I
bad
think
publicity out of
Donner
that.
is definitely I think Donner is definitely probably associated with other other things.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
saying.
I when you said Comet too, I was like, you know what, Comet's a cool name. I feel like a lot of people probably liked Comet too, but I totally forgot about it when I went to say names.
Right.
Brushed up on my reindeer names. However, however, I think if you like the reindeer Donner, you probably are in the same category of people that don't put lights on their trees and that sort
Right,
of
right.
thing.
If you picked I don't know what reindeer was my favorite, you
Right,
pretty
right.
much don't matter. Even though there's 2,000 of you and it was 15%, you pretty much
Yeah,
don't matter, and you probably are the 2% that don't decorate your tree with lights or decorations. You just put a
yeah.
green tree in your house like an idiot.
Or you don't have a tree,
That's right.
I guess.
Right.
But who
We're
puts
just
up the? That wasn't the poll though. The poll was when you put up a tree, do
right.
you decorate it or do you put lights on your tree?
Right.
You
So who
know,
puts up a tree goes all to all of the trouble of putting up a tree, and then you don't put any lights on it, you don't put any decorations. I mean, come on.
freaking weirdos, bunch of
Weirdos.
bunch of psychos.
Bunch of disassociated. Oh, okay. So what's the favorite Christmas gift that you've ever received? An electronic, a book, A pet, a food, a money, or an other?
Money. Wow. I think electronics is a big part.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a big chunk.
So I
I
picked
think
other
money.
because like the one thing I can think of as a kid growing up that I got that I was like probably the most excited about was we got this little Hot Wheels racetrack. It was 2 lanes, you could sit us across from the other, and you pulled it back, and the car went zooming, and if you were quick enough, you could be like, get those cars, like,
Yeah.
flying
Yeah.
around the track.
I
And I've
remember
only
that.
seen it, like, maybe twice since then, but, I remember that as, like that was one of my favorite things that I
That
got.
was cool. That was cool.
Like, I
Now,
mean, I've
see,
gotten things, but
yeah, I think. Well, in poll related here, I think, man, pets is another one that I think of, a lot of people probably, man,
yeah,
I don't
there
know.
are a lot of dogs and
I would probably say that it has to be money or electronics is the top.
so I have a friend that got like looked all over the place, found this his fiance or I think it was fiance at the time. And I think I left the company before he got married, but he was supposed to get married shortly after I left or whatever. And he had looked all over the place for this English bulldog or French bulldog and looked all over, finally found one, purebred Frenchie, and $1,200. This was back in like early 2000s.
Like 5 grand.
Purebred. Yeah, now they're like a billion and a half dollars. I've always wanted one. And like 3 weeks later, he was having to find someone to buy or just foster this dog. Like his wife just they didn't have time. She didn't like it as well as
She thought she was
he
going
had hoped,
to.
as she thought she would. They didn't have time to train
Oh,
it,
that's rough.
all this stuff, like 1,200. So I could see pets being good, like being one of like on Christmas Day your favorite, but then
Yeah.
being like, you know, this
Not
is a
as not as hot of
responsibility.
a thing later on.
This
Yeah.
is this is worse than kids because like they never learn how to feed you. They aren't gonna go out someday and make some money and leave your
Right.
house. And
Yeah.
then in the
You're
18
taking care of
years
them forever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the so many years that you raised them, then they're gone, where
Yeah.
your kids are supposed to not die until after you do.
Right. Right. So what does the poll say?
So the poll says other is 43%, which other is a pretty big category. I
Yeah.
mean,
I don't know how you can put other in this.
we've got toys. Toys are not electron, like Matchbox cars, like those types of things aren't electronics.
Yeah.
So, you've got all of that. But then you've got electronics is 23%, money is 12%. So other than other, which is a giant category of just like
Yeah. Other is such a broad
time or, they didn't even put car. So car could be on the list of other, you
dirt
know,
bikes, whatever. Yeah.
house,
All
wedding
kind of thing.
ring, you could get, engagement
Yeah.
ring, all that stuff is in other.
Yeah.
And so electronics 23%, money 12, book 11%. I mean, come on. A book, just watch
Might
the
be
movie.
a nice book.
Pets could be a first edition, could be expensive.
Yeah. It could be a really nice book. I don't
Um could be Facebook. Uh
know. It could be a book in the face.
9% for pets, 2% of food. Like it would have to be really, really good food for you to be like, this gift of food was the best thing ever. 2%.
Hey, I know some people that like it's like I remember certain people like wanted the same thing every year,
Yeah.
like chocolate covered cherries and stuff like that.
Right,
Like
right,
they look forward to those gifts, so I could
right.
understand that being something, especially like what if you're like you have everything else in life, like what do you want out of, you know what I mean, like I think that's the whole gift giving thing that I don't really care for, because because like I don't know. If I want it,
Well,
I usually find a way to get it myself. You know what I mean? Like
and
I know
everybody
that sounds
has like that thought ahead of time. Like you get this expectation, and I tell like I feel like over the last 5 or 6 years, I've realized that expectation really is what kills. Like if you want to get depression fast, have some high expectations
right.
because you're just like the second you expect it to be this or you expect someone's reaction to be this and it's not, then
Right.
you get a level of like, oh, I'm not good enough, or oh, I didn't do it right, or oh. And
Right.
so yeah, I think that's, with the gift giving thing, like, but like you said, with like I understand like having the food thing because like I've walked out of donut shops that were named Maple Donuts and didn't have a maple donut.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am that like
I gotcha.
when it comes to food, like passion is yeah, I have that
Right.
passion. I mean, we call me the chef. And so
That's a big thing. Like that's a big part of you. You know.
like I've been to the point before where like a lady at one of the top 100 donut shops in the nation says, I walked up to her and I said, "Do you guys have a maple donut?" And the answer is no. And I'm okay with that. If you don't have a maple donut, it's kind of an old school thing, but I grew up with it, so I always ask. And she goes, "No, we got a caramel." I'm like ready to fight the lady. This lady's got to be like 65, 70 years old, and I'm ready to be like, "Are they the same? Then why offer it to me? If they're not the same, if
Well,
it's not Mr. Pibb and Dr. Pepper,
it's like it's one of
like
those like
don't like if it's
categories
not
that like
Mellow
okay,
Yellow
well we
and
put the maple and the caramel in the same
Mountain
area.
Dew, it's not the same thing. Like they don't.
I get what you're saying.
Yes, they look similar, but that's like saying me and you are interchangeable
Yeah, no.
because we look similar.
There's some parts that aren't the same now. Oh
Yeah,
man,
I mean,
I get what you're saying there though.
so
Yeah.
I understand the whole like being that passionate about food, but like I said, it's got to be like that gift of food had to been like something.
Well, I think that it ties into like that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
It's kind of become there's certain people that I have, especially with traveling for work and stuff. There's
right.
certain people that have um, that I have kind of a running joke with about certain foods or certain things from that area. You know,
Yeah.
and I can
Yeah. Oh yeah.
remember I can remember one
Every
specific.
place has its area or has its
Right,
food.
I can remember something specific to as to where I was working down in North Carolina, and there was a restaurant down there that had a like a homemade like granny's kind of recipe of banana pudding. I'm
Oh
not
yeah.
even that big of a
Oh.
banana pudding
Oh
like
yeah.
fan, but the that banana pudding was so amazing. And I have friends that live down there and stuff that they kind of turned me on to it there. They were like, "No, you have to try the banana pudding," and I'm like, "Okay, I'll try it." And it was amazing to the point to where
So
like they came up to the area, have come up to the area a couple times, and
to
they'll
try
bring
it.
me the banana pudding from that
Oh yeah.
place. You know? So like I
So
can understand that excitement or that side of like getting a gift that was food because I'm like, oh, like that's amazing from that area that I can't get all the time.
right. So on that same level, our grandma made great banana pudding. Like growing up, I remember
Yeah.
she made great banana pudding.
Yeah.
So I went to culinary school, not we. I mean, you are with me always. So you went to culinary school too, I guess, but it's kind of weird. Anyhow, so I went to culinary school. I went out, did some cooking and stuff like that, all the chefing and all that stuff. And I hadn't even really barely thought about banana pudding since. I moved to Georgia, and this 50-year-old woman makes this banana pudding that's just like, and so we same type of deal. Like she has this recipe from her family, this old school deal.
Mhm.
and she makes this banana. It's like the greatest banana pudding ever. I haven't eaten banana pudding since.
Yeah.
Like for
You're like,
one,
I
I
don't
mean
want
they
to
don't
ruin
have it in the north,
Yeah.
and if they do, they
It's not
they don't
anything.
have it in the
Yeah.
north.
Yeah.
And I haven't been south all of that much since then. But they we haven't eaten banana pudding since. So I understand that kind of
You're like, I was
passion
so ruined. I
on
was so ruined by that one. Yeah. But that's what I wanted to add to that whole aspect of like the food thing, because that's what I think of is like having that excitement of, you know, food from a certain place or something you can't get all the time or whatever, you know. I don't know if I would rank it super, super high, but food is pretty awesome. It's a pretty good sized category, realistically, of what could be.
right. I mean definitely food will get you on a level of passion that could get you to anger or could get you to the euphorium of this is the greatest thing. Like I've had those moments where I've like literally walked out of places because they made me angry about food.
No. So is that the whole poll?
That no, there's a couple more. There's a where do you spend your or where do you go during your holidays? Like no, nowhere. I stay at home. I go on vacation somewhere. I go to a family member's or a friend's house or an other.
I think family is probably the highest.
Yeah, it's the family is the highest. It's 48% family members, friend's house, and then 44% nowhere I stay home. Those are the people that live in your mom's basement. Not your
Well,
mom's basement, but their mom's basement.
well,
Or the people who have moved away from their families and they live too far to get home.
is that, or maybe they don't have like an extended family or as much of
Maybe
an
they have
extended
COVID.
family now.
Maybe
Yeah,
they're
they're
adopted.
older, or they're
Maybe
older, and everybody comes to them. You
true,
know,
true.
all right. This is 12,000 people, of course, and
Oh no,
36% think
this
Santa
one
is bringing them
actually
gifts.
has
So
had about 17,000 people actually answered
there's
this one.
17,000 people. Okay.
Yep.
And
So
somewhere out there in this world, there's 36% of 12,000 people that think that Santa is bringing them the gifts. So,
still, those people also go on vacation somewhere.
yeah.
5% of people go on vacation through the holidays.
Really? Okay. I could
Yeah.
understand that too. I feel like I've heard about that a lot,
I
or
mean,
I've
I
looked
enjoyed like
at
we used to
more
go
people doing
like
that.
maybe the week before Christmas and enjoy like the holidays in an area
Yeah.
and then be home for the actual event of
Yeah.
Christmas, but
We travel a lot of times after Christmas, like the day after
right.
Christmas, we'll go somewhere on a trip and stuff. That's just because of the
Right.
way my schedule works, and then
Right.
family. And so, um, so yeah, we'll do like we've done it a couple years where we've left like the day after Christmas kind of thing and gone and snowboarded somewhere or whatever. Yeah, that's cool though.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else?
What do
You said
you
there's a couple more.
usually have for your Christmas meal? Turkey, ham, chicken, stuffing, mashed potatoes, gravy, and other.
First off, I think a lot of people have the majority of those, but I
Yeah, that's
think
true.
ham is probably pretty high on that list.
What was?
So you said mashed potatoes, turkey, ham,
Yeah,
stuffing.
yep.
I think
Chicken,
ham has to be pretty high up there. I don't. Do people do chicken on Christmas?
8% do.
Yeah,
Yeah, 1,280 some people said chicken.
I think that
Those who
ham is
can't cook
probably
a
pretty high.
turkey or a ham,
What's that?
those who can't cook a turkey or a ham will do chicken.
Or some people don't eat pork.
Well, maybe they buy it from KFC too.
Maybe, maybe. I think yeah. So
Uh,
is ham the highest, or mashed potatoes
okay,
or
so
stuff?
other is the highest. So other, involves like cranberry sauce or, whatever, you want to add to it.
Pie,
Maybe
whatever.
you do
Yeah.
lamb. Maybe you
Yeah.
do a nice
You you get
Chinese dinner.
Chinese.
Yep, maybe you do a nice Chinese dinner. Me and my wife were talking about we were going to do a duck, you know.
That
We
would be
normally try
different.
to do something like that, duck or something that
Pretty
we
cool.
can't get throughout the year. And being a chef, just try to do something
Yeah.
crazy. We're going to do prime rib, which is also not on the list. So I could see other being a big one.
Yeah.
Even on the meat side of things. I know that like I picked mashed potatoes and gravy because I pretty much no matter what I do, still have mashed potatoes and gravy.
Always. Yeah. You always
Always.
expect mashed potatoes and gravy, or even
Yep.
stuffing. I think stuffing is a pretty
Stuffing.
standard
Yeah,
too.
stuffing's pretty solid. 2% said stuffing. 7% said mashed potatoes and gravy. 8% said chicken. 22% said turkey. Ham was 24%, and then the other was
People still do
30%.
a bunch of turkeys for Christmas.
I guess. I mean, they have
Huh.
butterball turkeys at Aldi right now in Ohio for 67 cents a pound.
Why not?
Hey, we'll give them the advertisement.
Right.
Merry
Huh.
Christmas, everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's I'm a little bit surprised, but I'm not surprised about the other now that we really talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
There's
surprised
just
that
so much
chicken is so
else you could
high.
do. Yeah, I am kind of. I mean, the next question, which color combination do you think suits Christmas the best? We already kind of talked about this. Obviously, red and green. If you say
Duh.
anything else, red and white was second at 13%. Red and
I could
green was
understand.
83%.
I think
They had
I
white
could
and
see the red
green.
and white.
White
What
and
was the other one?
green was if you were rooting for the Celts, that would be 2%. If you don't matter, you picked white and blue. That was 1%. And if you really, really don't matter, as in you're probably not even listening to this podcast, black and white is what you picked, and you're at 1% at 83 votes. Great job.
Wow.
Great job, people.
Black and white.
Um,
Way to be creative.
really, really, this next question is the question. Is Christmas your favorite?
Ooh. And this is simply a yes or no.
Yes or no? What would the other option be? Maybe. I got to think about it longer.
Well,
Get off the
I don't
fence,
know.
man. Get off the
I,
fence.
I didn't know. Oh crap! I'm the one overthinking it at this point. I'm the other category. No, for me it's no. It's not my favorite. I like Thanksgiving more than I like Christmas,
Thanksgiving.
but I think a lot of people like Christmas.
76% say yes.
Yeah,
Christmas is their favorite. I like Christmas because it's the time of year, like you get the whole
yeah.
time. And you're kind of allowed to celebrate it longer than just
Celebrate
like,
one
yeah,
holiday
I
for
mean,
like a
you
month.
can,
Yeah,
right, you can celebrate Thanksgiving for, a month or like a week or something, but like nobody's really celebrating with you until the
right.
day of. And
Well,
so,
and you think
and
about like Christmas having like it like a whole like thing around it. You know what I mean? Like
right,
you have a whole like time of year around it. You
right,
know what I mean?
right.
Like people pretty much start to get in the Christmas mood like in November as soon as
Eh,
Halloween's over, kind of thing. It's like
I'm literally starting to put my Christmas lights and stuff up in the middle of October. For one,
yeah,
I don't want to get
you're
frozen out. I
yeah.
want to wear my shorts and a t-shirt and put my lights up. I want to pretend I'm in Florida
I'm
while I'm putting my
surprised you're
lights
not
up.
in shorts and a t-shirt like anyways in
Well, I
doing it
mean,
in November.
this is how I went out today. It was less than 40 out.
Yeah,
I had the sweater on and a pair of shorts and some tennis shoes on.
right. I think I don't know. For me, it's just because there's nothing else like around Thanksgiving that makes me
Right.
like Thanksgiving so much, because there's just the aspect of like spending time with your family and friends and like enjoying
Right.
a meal,
It's
that
like
sort of thing.
it's like a Christmas without all of the issues of having to figure out, the social
Right.
anxieties of getting presents and,
Right.
the terrible
The
weather
dilution,
and
like the diluted aspect of what Christmas has
right.
turned into.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. The
So
commercialization's
I like
gone.
Christmas because it's like merry. Like you said, you can celebrate it and kind of
Right.
like enjoy it. For a month or whatever, and you can
Without
curl up and watch Christmas movies and that kind of
right.
stuff, and that sort of thing. And so
Without
that's fun.
saying like it's the holiday season,
Right.
I kind of celebrate the holiday season. Like
Yeah.
it's all this and we're going to celebrate it all and do that type thing.
Right. Right.
So, yeah, really to me, I think second is the 4th of July cuz you get to blow stuff up. But
Yeah.
I
See,
really
I like.
like blowing stuff up.
Yeah, but it's also like a celebration of our nation. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like
Right.
that. But I really like to blow stuff up.
I like fire and
I
and
like fire.
explosions.
I like the fact that you could blow yourself up while blowing stuff up.
Well,
Um,
that happens.
I mean, at one point, I almost blew up a 90-year-old man while blowing stuff up because he couldn't hear so well.
Yeah.
But
I almost burnt my dock down once. That was fun.
yeah,
Dock
yeah,
on a pond. Yeah.
we about burnt my wife's car up once. I
Yeah.
punched
It's
a
probably.
firework coming out of the tube once.
Oh. Hey, remember that time? This is a whole
Remember
nother
that?
aspect. Remember that time we were kids and we were shooting off fireworks in the backyard, and
And
one
fired
of
it
the
into a van.
like a bottle rocket or something,
Yeah,
like for some reason it like misfired or fell over,
yeah, it
and there
fell
was a
over.
van driving by,
Yeah,
and
right
the
in the
like
window.
just perfect timing where the bottle rocket like went into the van window, and they stopped and like opened up their door, like kicked it out and all. I mean, it
Right.
was
Yeah, it was good times.
perfect timing beyond like the craziest wild.
Hey, on those days, you don't go play the lottery. You used up all
Right.
your luck. All your luck has
Right.
been used.
Yeah. That was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fireworks are cool.
Fireworks are great. So,
Hmm.
uh favorite Christmas movie. So on this, it's got Home Alone, Christmas Chronicles, which is brand new, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Elf, The Santa Claus, The Nightmare Before Christmas, which just got enveloped into the Hall of Fame or into the Congress thing, Library of Congress,
Yes.
and Polar Express and Love Actually.
Love Actually is on the list.
Yes.
First off, I'm upset that Miracle on 34th Street isn't on there and Love Actually
Right?
is on there. A
Right?
Christmas Story isn't on there
Right?
and Love Actually is on there. What kind of
Right.
psycho made this list? Um,
White
I
Christmas isn't
think
on there.
yeah, there's so many that aren't on there. I think a
The
lot of people probably like Elf. That's probably pretty high on their list. And then I don't know. This is like the Santa Claus or whatever. I think that's probably pretty. I don't know. Home Alone is, if out of the ones on the list, Home Alone's got to be mine.
All right. Home Alone is the top on this
Really?
list. Yeah.
Hmm.
But like I
I didn't
mean,
realize so many people liked Home Alone.
well, 30%, 5,000 people liked Home Alone. So you
Yeah.
can feel good that 5,000 people are like you.
There you go. Cool.
22% said Elf. So
Yeah.
35% or 3,500 were Elf. Uh, you know, 17% were the Grinch. Me and Mila, my daughter, watched the Grinch last night. The
Now is this
original.
the
We
okay? I was
watched
gonna say, is this the
the original
original
Dr.
or
Seuss. Yeah, I don't got time for the 2-hour version. Like,
yeah?
shut it down. Get it
No,
done.
the original is definitely
Sing the
cool,
song. Sing the song and get out.
right? Yeah. No, I didn't even think about the original being pretty high up on
Yeah.
my list.
Yeah. The Santa Claus was 8%. Polar Express was 7%. Love Actually was 7%.
What? It was
Nightmare
that
Before
high?
Christmas was 6%.
What is it? Which one was?
The Nightmare Before Christmas was 6%. Love Actually did better than The Nightmare Before Christmas and The Christmas Chronicles. I understand The Christmas
Wow.
Chronicles because it's brand new, like just came out last year.
Yeah, but Love Actually. What are you
Love
guys doing with your life?
Actually, listen to this, is the most sad and depressing and just the movie confuses me because Liam Neeson busts through a door and there's no shooting.
Yeah,
He
I,
runs through this place, busts through a door, and no one gets shot.
to have a higher percentage of people that like Love Actually over
Wine drunk millennials.
Wine Drunk, yeah, probably,
Enough said.
yeah. That's
Okay,
done.
this is it. Finally, choose a Christmas song.
Ooh, I was waiting for this one. Honestly, I was.
All I Want for Christmas Is You, Last Christmas, Jingle Bells, White Christmas, Rocking Around the Christmas Tree. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Santa Tell Me, Blue Christmas, Sleigh Ride, Jingle Bell Rock, Let It Snow. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
So I
there's
think
still
Jingle
some
Bells is pretty low.
glaring deletions. I mean, there's like Oh Christmas Tree. There's some of the
Yeah,
Silent
there's so many
Night.
different. Yeah, there's so
There's
many
some
different
of
ones
the
out there.
classics.
Silent Night. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a bunch of them. I would say if I were to guess, a lot of people
Joy to
probably
the
like Jingle
World.
Bell Rock. I would say that's probably pretty high
So
and beginning
I
to look a
picked
lot like Christmas.
on this list. I picked Sleigh Ride.
Sleigh
It's just a
Ride's
good
cool.
classic,
Yeah.
old
Yeah.
school. I like the rest of them. It's not a bad list. Um,
Sleigh Ride, I don't feel like has been overly redone too.
no, it hasn't. It's technically a song, a sound song. It's a
Yeah.
tough song to do. Normally it only sounds great if you use like a full symphony.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm
so
with you
anyhow,
on this one. I like that.
yeah,
Yep.
it's a solid song, and if if it's not if you like a song better, it probably shouldn't be All I Want for Christmas Is You, but that one comes in at the top at 25%.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. I didn't expect that.
Number two, Last Christmas. What kind of drunken millennial
The
is
same one
taking
that
this
picks Love Actually.
of actually 6% of the time?
Wow.
Yep. Yep. And then it goes down. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas is 11, which I like that song pretty well.
Yeah. I figured that one
Um,
would be fairly high, but I didn't
yeah.
figure that Last Christmas would be so high.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All I Want for Christmas Is You. I mean, it did
Yeah,
hit,
well,
it did hit over a million, or, what was it, a million or a billion downloads this year already?
I don't
It was
know.
like last week it hit like a high number. I don't remember
Really?
whether it's a million or billion. Yeah,
Is
it
this the
was,
Mariah Carey version?
yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's the most wonderful time of the year is 9%. Rocking Around the Christmas Tree, 8%. White
Really?
Christmas, 7%. Yep. Yep. Well, Rockin' got 8. White Christmas, 7. Santa Tell Me, 6. Jingle Bell Rock was 6.
I
Jingle
expected that to be
Bells,
higher.
yeah. Jingle Bells was 3%. Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow, 3%. Sleigh Ride, 3%. Which they're all like, what's funny is they're all different versions of 3%. Jingle Bells,
Yeah.
527 people. Let It Snow, 486 people. Sleigh Ride, 453 people is dwindling.
Oh
And then
wow.
Blue Christmas, the people who don't matter, 1%.
Those are like the Elvis diehards that are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's just like 7 Elvis fans.
Yeah. No, there's still a bunch out there. I like Elvis. I just don't
I
think of Blue
which
Christmas being
like
very high on my
so which
list.
Elvis do you like? Do you like super young naive Elvis? Do you like his grunge race car day Elvis? Do you like crack cocaine toilet Elvis? Do you like dead Elvis?
I kind of like the like worn out, like
80s Las Vegas Elvis?
yeah, I kind of like the worn out, like his face, his skin is probably leather kind of Elvis.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
you could the one that you can tell he's probably lived a pretty hard life, Elvis.
You could hang your hat on this Elvis. He's weathered
Yeah.
and still
You're like, you know
still
what? You
rocking
know who's lived? Elvis. Like,
Elvis.
like I do like the
Uh
grunge Elvis too. I do,
yeah, I liked
but I would
I
think that
honestly I thought Elvis had a pretty good run through. Like there was the time like Elvis came in, he was doing his like gospel albums and stuff like that.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
and his gospel albums were he had a voice and a half.
Oh yeah,
And then he had
yeah.
that like rockabilly like storytelling
Hmm.
rock Elvis, and then there's that weird like movie time Elvis where he was the same character in like all like 82
Yeah,
movies, and it was like he
like
was a naval guy, he was a Hawaiian, he was
yeah,
it was like back then when like John
he,
Wayne could be any character also, like
any
Elvis did
Western
that.
character whatsoever.
Right,
Yeah,
right. And
or
so
military, or yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah, so I I enjoyed
He was
the
like the original like Barbie character. I
yeah,
feel like
kind of, yeah,
like
like the
and
original,
I don't mean that in like a weird way. Well, it's kind
like
of weird,
like
but I mean
the
that in the sense that like
stereotypical
he
American
was like the
guy.
dressed up version of
Right,
like an actor, right? Like you said, he could
right,
play any role.
right.
Like
Yeah,
yeah,
he
yeah,
identified as any character.
right. You just have to like put a different costume or a different uniform or something on him,
Same voice, but new
Yeah,
costume. Maybe he's messed his hair up a little different.
yep, yep.
Glasses sometimes.
A
Yeah,
little less, grease or something in his hair this time or
right.
that time.
No, I
World, but
don't. I think it's pretty much all the same grease now.
that's true.
Different shirt.
Man, we should put up a poll. We should put up a poll about Elvis. Which
Which
version of
Elvis you like?
Elvis?
Which version
Yeah.
of Elvis? Do you like sold out movie version? Do you
Right.
do you
Yeah.
like early
I think that would
Vegas
be an interesting
version?
poll.
Do you like
Yeah.
coked out toilet version?
Oh man.
Dead Elvis.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, this is what like should we go another 45 minutes so we can do a 4-hour podcast? I
No.
mean, we're at the 3-hour level right
We
now.
are well into this. I think that's a good place to
This is
stop.
good. So we've got one last poll.
Oh
It's
geez.
do you say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, or does it depend on if you know the person or not?
I don't that part I don't really think is an equation for me. Like
The
it's
knowing the
not part of the
person?
equation to where I say happy holidays or I say Merry Christmas if I know you and I
Right.
no, I
I
I
don't
think
want
it just
no
all depends on like
that's the woke percent. That's the percent
yeah,
of people who are like, I don't want to offend
picking Love
you
Actually is their Christmas movie. Um
and
um,
love the song this Christmas.
Right. I think if I were to say here's the deciding factor between the Merry Christmas and the Happy Holidays
Right.
for me. The Merry Christmas is probably the people I talk to all the time,
Yeah.
and I know okay, I'm probably going to
So
talk
it
to you
does
before
depend
the
if you
new year.
know them or not.
No, I'm saying for me it's for me it's like Merry Christmas if I'm going to see you before the new year, or if I'm going to
Okay.
talk to you before
Okay.
the new year kind of
So it's
thing.
more of a
And
proximity
then
of like I'm just trying to get them all together at once. Like I'm just
right, it would be like
happy holidays for
Happy
yeah,
holidays because I'm going to probably not see you until after the new year kind of
right.
thing. You know? So I think I could understand that as being well, it depends on if I know them, you know. But
I can see that.
that would be the only really deciding factor
I could
between
see
the two.
that. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
could see that. So like yeah, I'm definitely like the beginning of the season I'm like happy holidays cuz
Yeah.
there's Thanksgiving there, there's Christmas,
The whole thing in one, right?
right.
Yeah.
The closer we get to Thanksgiving, like the week of Thanksgiving, I'm like happy Thanksgiving. After Thanksgiving, I'm like Merry Christmas. And then, there's the
Just
week of
really
Happy
just
New Year.
deciding. It really just depends on what time, like
You're
in
right.
the calendar
Right. Right.
year that you're asked, huh?
Yeah. So in this poll, 64% said Merry Christmas.
No, okay.
33%, 33%, about half of them um said happy holidays. 2% said it mattered whether they knew him or not, as to not offend them. And 3 people who don't matter said that they don't say either.
Wow, you jerks.
Right. You're not
What do
gonna
you have
wish
a
me anything?
what do you have a tree in your house too that you don't put lights
No,
on?
no, those are the
You
people who
freaking
don't.
psycho.
Yeah, those are the people who either don't have a tree or they put a tree up without lights and
They're
decorations.
probably the
They have
same
no
people that
soul.
are like they're like, oh, having a case of the Mondays, like like they'd probably don't even say like Happy Friday to people too. Like,
Right.
what are you, a psycho?
They don't say hump day.
Yeah, or like have a good weekend. Like they're just like
They're the people that run out before you even don't invite you to a beer or anything.
right, yeah. Those are the people that show up with like a terrible gift for like a work
Six
party.
pack of Zima.
Yeah, yeah.
Box
They
of
show up
box
and
of
they're like,
paper clips they
"Well,
stole
I
from the
stopped by
company.
and got a bottle of Ten High." Like, what?
I got this plum sake.
Yeah, yeah. I got us a $10 bottle of plastic bottle of whiskey.
It's here's some of that cooking whiskey that
It's
you
like
put
the
on bread
vodka you
pudding.
buy at Walmart.
This is the bread pudding whiskey that you make the whiskey sauce out of. Yeah, I
Right,
bought that for us
right.
all to drink.
Oh,
Mostly you to drink because I'm not drinking it.
it's,
But
it's like the people that show up
bourbon,
with
bourbon chicken, bourbon.
like it's the people that show up with like a what do you call that? Like a personal size of like Doritos or whatever, like a personal bag of Doritos. They're like, "Hey, I brought some chips,
I bought
guys."
us a
Like,
10-pack of
what?
tacos.
You stopped at the gas station around the corner and grabbed.
I bought the bucket of Fireball with all
Right.
the individual shots. That way, when you guys don't drink any of them, I can take them home with me.
It's the bucket of cheer.
It's the
Uh,
bucket of one more bad decision.
bucket of bad decisions right there. Yep.
That's
That's
right.
what we'll
That's
call
right.
that.
Right there.
Oh, that's a good one to end it on right there. Bucket of
That's
bad
right.
decisions.
I brought the bucket of Fireball, the bucket of one more bad decision.
You are the ones that have a tree and don't put lights on it, you freaking psychos.
That's right. You guys don't matter. You
You
guys have
watch
no
Love
soul.
Actually.
Soulless guys that bring the bucket of one more bad decision. Remember to follow, like, and share the Why I'm Angry podcast across all social media platforms and anywhere you get your podcasts. The Why I'm Angry podcast ends now. Merry Christmas, everybody.